Peyronie's disease, then call West Coast Men's Health.
Call 913-363-9439. That's 913-363-9439. 913-363-9439. Online at
Don't risk losing your photos and video. This innovative stick makes it easy to back up your smartphone.
You don't know your business. That's true when your business is growing fast. And even more true when there's a lot of uncertainty. Inflation is running rampant, supply chains are clogged, and the labor market is tight. What does that mean for margins? But not every business is in the dark. Over 30,000 businesses know their numbers because they use NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control of your financials, planning, budgeting, and of course inventory, so you can manage risk, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Everything you need, all in one place. In 2023, profit is the new growth. NetSuite helps you identify rising costs, automate your manual business process, and see where to save money. Know your numbers, know your business, and get to know how NetSuite can be the source of truth for your entire company. Right now, NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind flexible financing program. Head to netsuite.com/play right now. netsuite.com/play. netsuite.com/play.
Football, tailgating, holiday parties, and Smokehouse Barbecue. I can't think of anything better. The holidays are here. Let Smokehouse Barbecue celebrate with you. They have private banquet rooms at all 3 area locations in Zona Rosa, Gladstone, and Independence. If you're hosting your own party, invite Smokehouse along. Order the whole meal with their famous ribs and wings. Don't forget about their hickory baked beans or cheesy corn to go with your meal. Give them a call or check them out at SmokehouseBBQ.com. For over 30 years, family owned at Smokehouse Barbecue.
Be successful like the hometown team. We need a good game plan for all aspects of life, and that begins at home. Start now and get on Century Roofing's schedule. Schedule an estimate with Century Roofing so we can provide you the protection you need. You'll get reliable service with outstanding technical expertise. Trusted pillars of strength, PVC-based, and full load. Century Roofing, your hometown roofing team. CenturyRoofingKC.com. Again, that's CenturyRoofingKC.com.
Century Roofing, trusted pillars of strength.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us,
but it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products. We never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investment securities involve the risk of loss. Ray Mariotti here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some Nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. That looks like the cutoff man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
At Staples, you can count on every project being print perfect, guaranteed.
I need presentations and brochures printed, and they have to be perfect.
Your bounded presentations, brochures with the finest folds, and more will be done right every time. That's our great big promise. Now at Staples, get $10 off your document printing and marketing materials order of $50 or more, plus 20% back by a store bonus. Try Staples and see the difference. Ends 2/11. Rewards members only. Bonus must be in store. See staples.com/stores/great for details.
The listening you love is on the free Odyssey app. Your trusted local radio stations. Coverage of your favorite teams.
Live news from your hometown.
And millions of podcasts on demand.
Best of all, you can completely customize your listening experience.
Follow topics you care about, like leagues and teams. Pause or rewind your local sports and news. And add shows to your queue to catch up later. There's a lot to listen to. So get started and download the free Odyssey app today.
Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. Technicians you can trust with your house keys.
At Anthony, we get the job done right the first time. That's why you know us as the technicians you can trust with your house keys. Right now, receive 50% off a new furnace when you purchase a new AC. Schedule online today at AnthonyPHCE.com.
NFL playoff coverage on 610 Sports Radio is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
All right, just getting started here on a Wednesday. It's Cody and Gold. Wanted to pass along an update. The Buffalo Bills just putting an update out in the last few minutes. Fantastic news. We already knew that Damar Hamlin had moved from Cincinnati to a Buffalo hospital. Well, now he's out of the hospital altogether. The statement coming out from Buffalo, Damar Hamlin has been discharged from Buffalo General Medical Center. He was admitted on Monday, went through comprehensive medical evaluation as well as a series of cardiac, neurological, and vascular testing on Tuesday. And one of the critical care physicians putting out a quote that said, "We have completed a series of tests and evaluations. In consultation with the team physicians, we're confident that Damar can be safely discharged to continue his rehabilitation at home and with the Bills." So, look, today's Wednesday. All this happened last Monday. Just to think that he's already home and now just going to do rehab. It's, obviously the doctors are incredible. Modern medicine's incredible. His recovery is incredible. Awesome to see.
I think I saw last night the report was that they did determine it was because of the hit, not like a prior cardiac issue, which in a way is kind of reassuring because then at least, because that's what it seemed like at the time, because it's scarier when all of a sudden, because that's how like other players have died on the field before, right? It was like they had an undiagnosed heart problem they just didn't know about. And so it's scary.
What about the hit, though? Like what? Because that didn't seem like it was all that violent of a hit.
The simple medical explanation from most people, what they believe happened, I think they're still investigating it, is there are certain things that can happen, trauma directly to your chest, that if they just happen, weirdly enough, at the right time, that can narc your heart out. It's like getting hit with a baseball in the chest. You can get hit in the baseball in the chest and be okay, but if you get hit in the baseball in the chest at the wrong time, at the right,
Okay, so then can we use this as an opportunity, at least for GoldenEye, Cody? I don't know if this applies to you, but if you are one of the people that has been inundating us on Twitter with DMs about medical conditions and vaccine opinions, please cease that line of communication immediately, because quite frankly, I'm just not interested in engaging in that.
I got no short of like 30 DMs from someone, I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're
Please stop
giving that person attention.
No, we're not giving him attention. I'm just saying stop doing it,
Yeah.
Let's call this a draw.
While we're on NFL injury news and updates, couple real quick. Mike McDaniel, the head coach of the Dolphins, just now mentioning that Tua still is not cleared. He will not play against the Bills. So that means Tua's season's done. He's done.
Unless
Skylar Thompson or Teddy Bridgewater upset the Bills. And even then, it's still probably not likely Tua plays the next week.
He shouldn't play.
Tua has not been cleared for...
What if they win the next game, though, too?
Yeah, I agree.
Skylar Thompson takes him to the AFC title game.
So I agree with you, Cody.
Buffalo and the Chiefs.
I agree with you. Like, I say the same thing. Like, you're like, he shouldn't play. I agree, but if the doctors think he should play or okay to play, then he can play. Like, the doctors are saying he can't play, so that's why he's not playing.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, this feels like the moment of your life to very carefully make your next step. You got 3 concussions in a single year. And I know it's only 2 diagnosed by the team. Be smart about this. It was clearly 3 concussions, and we know it was 3 concussions. So just be very careful about how you make your... If you want to keep playing NFL football, be very careful with your body here in these next upcoming months so that you can actually still have a career.
I don't disagree. Again, the big thing is like the doctors just aren't even clearing the guy.
This is why the Dolphins are going to end up going for a guy like Derek Carr, because they sold themselves to a point that they can't really afford easily to go rookie quarterback out of the draft. They are more in line to need a veteran quarterback to, go with all the other weapons they already have in place, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Derek Carr is an option for any of these teams, like the Jets, for the Dolphins. All of that is in play, no doubt. So anyway, a couple updates on the injury front. Great news, Damar Hamlin out of the Buffalo hospital, going to start rehabbing with the Bills organization. And then an update, unfortunately for Tua, not cleared, not able to play this weekend. So it'll be Skylar Thompson or Teddy Bridgewater against the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are 10-point favorites, understandably so, in that game. As the offseason is beginning already for multiple teams in the league, as they're not in the postseason. One of them is the Arizona Cardinals. We know Cliff Kingsbury out. Steve Keim, their GM, out. They're already looking ahead. There's a report from Jordan Schultz, friend of the show,
that says the source is telling him the Cardinals are planning to try and trade star wide receiver and all-pro DeAndre Hopkins this offseason. He has 2 years left on his current deal, $34 million. So actually, in today's day and age,
$17 million, not bad.
I'm interested at that. The problem is he's likely to seek a new deal. For those that automatically react, always like, oh, the Chiefs should trade for him. If you told me
I want this on the record, though, that this was not me.
Oh, yeah,
the
fair enough.
first time somebody came up as a possible trade candidate that I did not mention them coming to the Chiefs.
This is true.
I want that. No.
That's never been the issue. It's that mentioning them coming to the Chiefs has never been the issue. It's the advocacy for any available player that you said they should get him.
Okay.
Gold hasn't said that yet. We'll see where this conversation goes, though.
All right, Gold. Do you think the Chiefs should go after D-Hop?
No, because he needs a new deal reportedly. And that if you told me you could trade him and give up, I don't know, a third-round pick and something else, or whatever, second-round pick and something else, I'd be interested. 2 years at $16 million or so, yeah, very interested, knowing the wide receiver depth right now and where you're at, and then that would solve your issue whether or not you would be paying Juju to come back or not. The problem is, if he wants a new deal, Cody, he's 30 years old. He missed 6 games this year due to PEDs. He hasn't had a 1,000-yard season in 2 years. I'm not going to give him the new deal, which likely is going to probably bump it up to $25 million per year. So I'm out.
But he did get
the
you
Chicago
770 yards in 9 games.
I understand. I'm not interested on the new deal.
And they shut him down at the end of the year.
So you would give him a new deal? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It's not as simple as would you trade him because he's talented. Yeah. You have to also acknowledge it would require, reportedly,
paying him 20.
So let me ask you this.
If I'm the Chicago Bears, hello.
Well, let me ask you this.
If I'm the Bears, I'm totally interested.
If you're talking about a new deal, I would assume that means restructuring the one he's currently on.
So that 2 years becomes a 4 or 5 year deal, and he's probably making an average of $25 million a year.
Okay, yeah, 5-year deal, but like, what's your out point, right?
3, probably.
If you're telling me restructuring his deal and giving him an extension would mean you would have an ability to get out in 3 years at age 33, I would 100% do that because I know we think of the threshold here at like age 30, right? We think about that as like, I don't know, like because it's a nice round number.
Yeah.
But for wide receivers, especially the elite ones, they all produce well into their 30s. They usually don't, like we think about the drop-off for running backs being around age 26, 27. For wide receivers, that usually doesn't come till 33, 34. So if you're telling me you could sign him until his 33, 34 age season and get a premier wide receiver, who, by the way, before last year, before he tore his MCL, this guy was a model of like 16 games every single year, high-level production. I'm not willing to say that this is a guy who all of a sudden is on the decline.
Some team will obviously trade for him. Some team will give him the contract. I just mentioned Chicago makes sense. Remember, we're talking about the Chiefs, though. What you just said, I don't disagree with. But we just saw this past offseason the Chiefs were not willing to give $30 million per year to a guy that is the first or second best, third best wide receiver in football. Why on earth do I think that they would turn around and trade for 30-year-old D-Hop and give him $27 million a year?
Let me present you a hypothetical then. Let's say that Juju comes out and is like, you know what, weak wide receiver class?
Yeah.
I want $24 million. I want $25 million per. Let's say also in this scenario, the Chiefs decide we'll franchise tag Orlando Brown Jr., but we don't really have any plans to give him a long-term extension.
That might be happening anyway.
Because that long-term extension with Brown, I think the Chiefs were giving themselves the opportunity to extend a guy like him. I think coming into the season, they thought, well, with a big year, we may end up giving him a massive contract.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at two guys who you may not end up giving a long-term deal to, doesn't your outlook on paying wide receivers change a little bit? I don't think Brett Veach and the Chiefs were saying we'll never pay top-end money for a wide receiver. I think it was a situation, the timing of it, with Orlando Brown Jr.'s free agency coming up. I think they said we can't do this right now, but if circumstances change, I don't think that they're just never going to be willing to do it.
I think certainly the Orlando Brown situation played a role in that thinking, but I remember having a conversation with all three of us on the show, and we said, unless your name is Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce, you're probably not going to be the highest paid or the top 3 paid at your position. They're just not going to do that. I think the name you're leaving out, though, is Chris Jones. We didn't think he was getting 15.5 sacks this season. That price went up drastically.
He's going to have to be paid. And the thing with, I think DeAndre Hopkins still has juice. Nick, to your point, the argument of, do I just think DeAndre Hopkins, because he got hurt one time and then got suspended for 6 games, is done?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
No, I don't. I think he's probably going to show up on some team and immediately be a 1,250-yard receiver with 10 touchdowns. I think he's just going to walk on to a unit and do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a harder time at this moment feeling as desperate for free agent wide receivers probably as I was at one, because they put together a semi-ragtag group of wide receivers this year. MVS has literally been as advertised. He's a 650-yard wide receiver. They didn't even get any contribution from McCole Hardman this year. He was hurt the entire time. So it's like they didn't have McCole for majority of the year. They had a below-average wide receiver in MVS, which is what they got. They had a solid number 2, and here's the thing that I will always go back to. They don't have to pay a top-end wide receiver because they get Travis Kelce at half the price. The ageless wonder that is Travis Kelce
You can't
is going
say
to...
that forever, Cody.
I can.
You
I
can.
can say it forever because every year I have to sit in here in August and I got to argue with some fan or the two of you about this is going to be the year that Travis Kelce drops off. It's never going to happen. Okay. He's going to retire having finished.
Never going to happen.
He's going to retire having finished a season with 1,300 yards receiving.
Okay.
Let me make this very clear. He's never going to drop off. He is ageless. He'll never disappear. So until Travis Kelce's retiring, you don't have to pay a wide receiver.
Which, by the way, that's a great strategy to just say, you know what? You think Brett Veach can say that when making decisions?
So I agree on...
Probably not.
I agree on a sliver of what you said, which is that as long as Kelce is producing like this, then you don't need to go and have a D-Hop type guy. I'm with you.
You've said that you don't think he's getting 1,000 yards next year. That's what you said before the season started.
Correct.
Are you standing by that?
We'll see how the offseason goes.
Okay, that's enough. What's going to change in the offseason? Is it going to
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how the offseason goes. But the notion, if you're laughing at that, I'll laugh that you think he's going to be a 1,300-yard receiver at age 38, which you actually, deep down, you do believe, I think.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I know that sometimes, you're like, oh, we're listening to, blowhards on sports radio, or they're just making a hyperbolic point. I just want to make it very clear. I actually believe this. This isn't like radio fodder or me trying to take a point I kind of believe and stretch it for the purposes of I actually think Travis Kelce is going to retire the final year of his season at age 38, having completed a season in which he has 12 or 1,300 yards receiving.
I was looking at the numbers real quick on D-Hop, though, more. So he wants a new deal. His cap hit right now, even if you somehow talked him into not needing a new deal, his cap hit next year is $30 million, and the year after it's 26. That's...
The trading team would likely get less than that, but it's not good.
If you're Chicago or any of these other teams that have quarterbacks on rookie deals and aren't going to turn around and have to pay Chris Jones money the way the Chiefs probably are going to have to if they want to retain him, it's different. I'm not interested in the D-Hop situation.
Are we going to include the conversation that we've also had on this show, which is this isn't really the time in the NFL where you have to get desperate for 30-year-old wide receivers. Great wide receivers. There's 15 of them in every draft.
But you have to hit on them.
They're
you have to hit on them. In this front office, the one thing that you could hold against them is that they have not done a great job of drafting wide receivers.
It's like the last thing you can hold against Brett Veach probably at this point based on the Karlaftis production we've seen this year. And you're right, Nick, but they've also never really taken a swing, if that makes sense. They're out here trying to be a singles hitter. They're just I'll just, play it safe. I'm going to hit. It's fine. They're not swinging for the fences. And at some point at wide receiver, I think you're right. The older Travis Kelce gets, the more Brett Veach will convince himself that maybe there's some drop-off of Travis Kelce. He's wrong, but at some point he'll talk himself into the possibility that that's going to occur. And maybe then they'll start taking those bigger swings. But the Chiefs are still the Super Bowl favorite as it sits right now, and they let go of a top-end wide receiver. I'm not feeling super desperate at the moment.
All right, let's get to Nick's notable notes.
Gotta write something down. Nick's notable notes.
All right, guys, I want to talk about a little thing called running the football.
Okay.
It's a big part of how some teams have success. Not always the first thing we talk about with the Kansas City Chiefs, but we can all agree that the eye test would indicate that ever since Clyde Edwards-Helaire sort of exited the fold, because we're not just talking about the injury, right? Because there was about a 3-week span before he went down where he wasn't really playing all that much. If you go back to Tennessee, he had 4 rushes for 5 yards. He didn't get a single rush against Jacksonville. 2 rushes for 9 yards against the Chargers, and that's the last game we've seen him all year long. I think we're all in agreement. Let me go ahead and just let's round it. Let's get a quick show of hands real quick. we all still in agreement that he's not going to have any role, or is anyone sort of worried that maybe he will come back and they're going to try and work him in?
He's done for the season unless all of a sudden we've found out some terrible news that Pacheco or McKinnon got hurt in practice or something. I mean, that's it. Otherwise, Clyde's not playing.
So
again.
I would be mad at the Chiefs if they gave him a role.
Do I trust that? Yeah, I do. I think they've seen it with how damn good McKinnon has been, and Pacheco's been awesome too. Yeah, no. Heck, Ronald Jones even showed you a little bit this past game with some carries. He can still be effective. There is no reason for the rest of the season to go with Clyde. In the offseason, reevaluate. See what it might cost to bring back McKinnon and all that. You got Clyde on a rookie deal still. We know they're not picking up the option and all that.
Walk on Clyde.
You can do that. Yeah, you can. To me, you don't walk on them. You either keep them or you trade them. You don't just cut them. But that's a conversation you and I can continue to have in the offseason. Obviously, you're on a different side of it than I am. But he's not playing this year. There's no reason for him to.
Why would you? What is the argument now? I'm curious.
To play him this year?
No, for next year. Where you guys differ on what his.
Well, I just said so. My argument is, based on the number his contract will hit because he's a first-round pick in year 4 of his contract, he's actually kind of an expensive running back. He'll be like the 15th highest-paid running back in the NFL, even though he'll only be making like $2.5–3 million. By running back standards, that's a lot. My argument is the $1.5 million you can save by doing that in a lot of years can buy you a running back the caliber of Jerick McKinnon, at least in the free agency market. You still got to get the decision right, but at this point, almost any free agent running back holds more value than what you've gotten out of Clyde at this point. I'd rather just go into free agency.
So what I would say to that, if you want to talk about potentially trading him in the offseason, I'm open to that. But you still have to have multiple running backs on your roster. And as of right this second, on January 11th, the only running back that is under contract, there's 2. It's Pacheco and it's Clyde. We all want McKinnon back. I have no idea what that price is going to be. It's a very deep free agency class, fortunately, for running backs as well. So mine is more like you still have a 23-year-old running back that even as a backup at $3 million, but in this system, he would still get some run. I don't think is all that crazy. By the time you bring back McKinnon and then you go and bring in somebody else, you're not that terribly far off the $3 million price range. And so that's why, to me, you want to shop him, I'm all for that. But just cutting him, to me, is a waste.
Like McKinnon signed for less than what you'll save in cap savings for Clyde next year.
Well, the point of this conversation is for today's notes, I want to sort of highlight what this team has done rushing the ball before and after the Clyde injury, or before and after sort of the shift from Clyde being a part of this mix to it being a two-headed monster of Jerick McKinnon and Isaiah Pacheco. So weeks 1 through 9, the Chiefs ranked 16th in yards per carry. They ranked 14th in rushing touchdowns. Since then, they rank 4th in rushing touchdowns, 9th in yards per carry. There's also a really interesting stat. I'm not going to get bogged down in analytics, but I'm going to quickly explain to you what success rate is when running the ball. It basically just says, what percentage of the first down yardage did you get on the rush, right? Teams who have a higher success rate, obviously that means they're picking up more. If it's 2nd and 6 and they get 5 yards, right, that's a good play. If it's 2nd and 6 and you get 1 yard, that's a bad play. It's pretty simple. The Chiefs, before weeks 1 through 9, when Clyde was still in there, ranked 25th in the NFL in rushing success rate. Since then, they rank 2nd behind just the Philadelphia Eagles. So it's not just
addition by subtraction.
Because it's not about volume, right? This takes away volume. The Chiefs are never going to be the leading rushing team in the NFL. They're never going to get a ton of yards. They're never going to have a ton of attempts. It's simply about what you do
when you get
with the attempts that you have. And the last half of the season, only the Philadelphia Eagles with Jalen Hurts have been a better rushing team than the Chiefs have been, which just kind of goes to show what we've thought all along, but we never really had the evidence to go with it, that, you know what, the guys you put out there, even though we always talk about scheme, it's all about blocking, you know what, maybe personnel does matter just a little bit. Maybe the guys who are getting those touches do matter just a little bit, because as many headlines as Jerick McKinnon has stolen this year, Isaiah Pacheco, not just the raw numbers, 4.9 yards per carry this year as a rookie, 7th-round pick out of Rutgers. That's better than Clyde Edwards-Helaire has done at any point in his 3-year career. Very impressive tandem we've got going here with Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon.
I hope they just bring McKinnon back. I don't think it would cost more than like $2.5 million. This is maybe the
Can he
single.
do this? Can he do this
is the
again?
single. I don't know, but I like the combination.
He's
and then
an
you draft another guy in the 7th round. That's how I would handle the running back
He
position.
is an anomaly, though. Because the only other running backs in the NFL this year, like the starting running backs over the age of 30, Cordero Patterson and Raheem Mostert. And both of them were kind of anomalies, too. Cordero Patterson was a wide receiver, sort of a journeyman, looked like he was on his way out. Then Atlanta's like, you know what, let's try you at running back. All of a sudden, boom, one of the most efficient runners in the NFL. Raheem Mostert didn't take an NFL snap until he was 25 years old. And then you've got Jerick McKinnon, who missed 2 full seasons due to injury. Those guys typically are done. Like, you miss 2 full years at running back at that age, your career is usually over, and now having a career year at age 30, like this doesn't ever happen. It's more than just a cool story. He's making NFL history this year.
NFL playoff coverage brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views. Up next, we get to the 11 o'clock hour, and the one player, Cody says, has to come up big like we've seen other players do for the Chiefs in the past.
There's Kelsey to the end zone. Cody and Gold brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
With inflation on the rise, you may be charging more to your credit card. But be careful. That increased debt can cause your credit score to suffer.
Don't get stuck with a low credit score and a mountain of high-interest credit card debt. Call Golden Oak Lending now.
Refinance with our low rates to wipe out your high-interest credit card debt and put extra cash in your pocket. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
Time for a new furnace? How about a free one? That's right. Buy a new air conditioner and get the furnace for free. Book your experts from Energy Experts Heating and Cooling today at EnergyExpertsKC.com. That's EnergyExpertsKC.com.
Don't miss the National Fishing Expos Kansas City, January 20th through the 22nd at the KCI Expo Center. Fishing season starts now with over 60 free seminars with pros from every corner of the sport, all while experiencing huge savings on all your tackle needs, all under one roof. 2 kids 17 and under get in free with every adult at the National Fishing Expos Kansas City this January 20th through the 22nd at the KCI Expo Center. For information and tickets, go to nationalfishingexpos.com. Presented by Wholesale Batteries, the right battery the first time.
When you hear Diamonds Direct, it's not just a catchy name designed to give the illusion of value. Our name is who we really are. Diamonds Direct was started by diamond cutters a quarter of a century ago. At our very core is a commitment to cut out the middleman and deliver extreme value in exquisite diamonds. Today, that's more true than ever, with our direct access to diamonds straight from the mines. Diamonds that we then cut and polish. Exquisite diamonds up to 15 and 20 carats in all shapes and sizes. It's an advantage other jewelers only dream of. By overseeing the entire process, we know for a fact Diamonds Direct is truly direct. So this year, as value becomes more important than ever, rest assured that Diamonds Direct's unique status in the world diamond market guarantees you the best no middleman direct importer price, period. And even with this extreme value promise, at Diamonds Direct you still get an unbeatable selection, transparent education, a luxurious shopping experience, superior customer service, no compromises. It's not having a cool name or clever advertising, it's the truth. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. That's true when your business is growing fast, and even more true when there's a lot of uncertainty. Inflation is running rampant, supply chains are clogged, and the labor market is tight. What does that mean for margins? But not every business is in the dark. Over 30,000 businesses know their numbers because they use NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control of your financials, planning, budgeting, and of course inventory, so you can manage risk, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Everything you need, all in one place. In 2023, profit is the new growth. NetSuite helps you identify rising costs, automate your manual business process, and see where to save money. Know your numbers, know your business, and get to know how NetSuite can be the source of truth for your entire company. Right now, NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind flexible financing program. Head to netsuite.com/play right now. netsuite.com/play. netsuite.com/play.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Let me guess. Unknown caller? You could reduce the number of unwanted calls and emails with online privacy protection. The latest innovation from Discover will help regularly remove your personal info, like your name and address, from 10 popular people search websites that could sell your data. And we'll do it for free. Activate in the Discover app. See terms and learn more at discover.com/online privacy protection.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
Hey, it's George Karlaftis. Make sure you keep listening all season long on your official broadcast partner of the Kansas City Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
All right, back here on Cody and Gold, 11 o'clock hour. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Nick Short with you. Coming up at 12:30, Josh Klingler, Chief Sidearm Reporter. He was in Las Vegas at Arrowhead West over the weekend. He'll be on the sidelines throughout the playoff run for the Chiefs. Hopefully just staying at Arrowhead for 2 games and then making his way out to Arizona. Hopefully not having to go to a neutral site, which we'll talk more about as they were this morning, as Bob Fesco was reporting that he's hearing that Atlanta seems to be kind of where the league is trending if, in fact, we actually have to have a neutral site AFC title. And that requires the Chiefs to win their game and the Bills to win 2 of their playoff games. So we're still a little long ways off, but would sure like an announcement this week. That'd be nice, NFL. It'd be really nice if you guys could figure that thing out here very soon.
I think for fans who might want to go to the game, it'd be great.
For sure. I did look up flights to Atlanta just for the heck of it, just to get an idea, what are they even running? Depending on your airline, obviously. Like Southwest, you could get there for about $315.
I got some people we could stay with in Atlanta.
I feel like you got people everywhere, man.
I don't Arizona. I can't cover us in Phoenix.
I think we might be good on the
I was like, I don't have us covered in Phoenix, but I got us covered in Atlanta if you want to go there.
Is this the Augusta hookup? Is this what this is?
His family all lives in Atlanta. I've stayed in their place before. So that's definitely mine.
I was wondering if it had something to do with
that. That's my place. That's my place there.
Okay. Anyway, thinking of the playoffs. Every year in the playoffs, whether it's, Chris Jones getting hopefully getting his first sack, playoff rank from a couple of years ago where he's top 5 all time in playoff sacks in his career, which is ridiculous, but awesome for him. There's always somebody that steps up. And even in the past, there's been some guys that I didn't even mention that have stepped up. You think there's one guy in particular, though, that has to this year?
I think the Chiefs have put it on him. It's Justin Reid. He has to come up big in the postseason the same way I would have said Tyrann Mathieu, and I know you're going to hate this sentence, Chiefs fans, Dan Sorensen used to. All right? Maybe not in the most recent time he was in Kansas City.
Hey, that fumble he forced with the Browns game.
Dan Sorensen used to show up big in postseason games. Safety is an easy position for this come up. Look, we've already put the pressure on Chris Jones. We know that. He needs to get a damn playoff sack this year, okay? We know it. It's enough. We've all waited long enough for a single Chris Jones playoff sack. This is crazy. But Justin Reid is the next man up. I know that I'm supposed to say L'Jarius Sneed or Nick Bolton or the players who have had a better season maybe than Justin Reid. But he has been a really solid safety this back half of the season, especially after even the mini controversy that would have been included on the trash talk he gave before Cincinnati and eventually losing that game. He needs to have a big postseason moment, justify that contract. It's weird to me because when they signed Tyrann Mathieu to one of the richest safety contracts, which is what they did to Justin Reid this offseason, we were way more in line of being like, all right, justify it. Have the moment. Show up big. Have this play. We really haven't put that on Justin Reid. And I think now's about the time that we need to.
I think, one, as we know, there are two different types of safeties in general, like just how they go
big
about playing.
Playmaking safety, sure.
Tyrann Mathieu, throughout his career, and to start even still a little bit this year with the Saints, I know some Saints fans were frustrated with his performance this year.
Set a new career high in tackles.
He did.
I saw a tweet about it. That's the only reason I know.
I thought he was done with Twitter. I thought he was only on Instagram. Anyway.
Did he say that?
I thought that was, who knows, man, with the on and off. But basically, the point being, he was more of, I think, a big play type of safety. Justin Reid's become a really good coverage safety. You look at some of the metrics that are out there for like how well he's done in coverage. That's where he's really thrived the last 6 weeks. He was talking last week, or was that on Monday, as a matter of fact?
Yeah, Monday.
It was Monday, sorry.
He was the defensive leader they put in front of the team on the podium. It's Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Justin Reid.
And he was asked even at that podium, what changed? Because we all know the comments, of course, that didn't go over well heading into the Cincinnati game. But post-Cincy game, he's played his best football in a Chiefs uniform. I don't know did it cause him to refocus? I have no idea, right? But he has been a much better player post-Cincinnati game. And there's a chance he's going to get tested by Cincinnati again, and Hayden Hurst and all that if they play each other in an AFC title game. So I don't know if yes, he needs to step up and I think he just needs to be what he's been the last 5 weeks or so, which has been 4 weeks or so, which has been a much better player. I don't think he's going to ever be the guy we're going to be talking about that had 3 interceptions during the playoff run.
I'm talking about one big moment that helps you win a playoff game. We understand that Chris Jones is capable of that and what it looks like. It's a sack. I honestly don't care if it's a huge tackle on 3rd down or 4th down that stops them short of the sticks, an interception, a big pass deflection. It doesn't matter to me in which form Justin Reid does it. As you've pointed out, it will probably look different than the way Tyrann Mathieu used to do it. But in those Super Bowl runs, it's more than one player that has to have that moment on defense. For the Chiefs in the Super Bowl run, it was a couple of moments by Frank Clark. It was a couple of moments by Tyrann Mathieu. It was a couple of moments by Dan Sorensen. They had their key drives, their key positionings in different games in which allowed that to occur. Justin Reid is the second most player I think deserves that pressure to make that play. It is Chris Jones first because he doesn't have a playoff sack and he needs to start getting them. But it is Justin Reid, in my opinion, second, partially because of what the Chiefs have continued to say about him. Like this goes back to we were having that conversation about the all-pro voting when it comes to the NFLPA. Like we can say whoever we think the leaders of the defense should be like, I think it's Chris Jones, or I think it's Nick Bolton, or I think it's L'Jarius Sneed. Well, the team's telling you who they think it is. The entire Chiefs organization, both in their offseason comments, in-season comments, and now what they do with Justin Reid are telling you it's him. He's the one, right? And so, he deserves the pressure in a postseason to say, all right, have your moment. Chiefs are going to win a Super Bowl. We're going to get to celebrate another parade. You and I, the 3 of us maybe, go to Arizona. If we have that opportunity, we're going to need Justin Reid to have his moment.
No, he's going to be a big fat. I just think play the way you have the last 4 or 5 weeks, man. I think that's a big reason, among others, along with George Karlaftis and Chris Jones, why this defense in the last 4 weeks or so has played to a level that you're starting to feel at least a little bit that they're trending in the right direction. I think Chris Jones used the word that they're trying to peak at the right time. We always hear that. He's a part of that equation. Karlaftis, I really think, is a huge part of it because you can actually see the stats, right? You can see the sack numbers. But if you dive deeper, I know we make fun of PFF and all that stuff. But coverage grade-wise,
we just don't trust him with quarterbacks. We trust him in other positions.
In particular, I really do trust him on D linemen and offensive linemen because it is harder for just to watch a game and judge. Sometimes you might think a certain offensive lineman isn't playing well, then you look up and actually Orlando Brown Jr. was the 4th highest Pro Football Focus graded player in the Chiefs game on Sunday. Stuff like or Saturday, stuff like that happens.
He played really well in that game.
Yeah, so stuff like that happens. But I'm with you. Yeah, Justin Reid I think is going to be a big part along with others on defense. Obviously, the one thing that I think is hopefully get a change in the NFL based on what we saw this past weekend in Week 18. If we're going to have 17 games and we all agree at some point the next CBA, Cody, we're probably going to end up with 18 games and they'll just keep working their way up. They'll take one more preseason game away, but they'll add another regular season game. So many teams were out of the mix. As fun as Week 18 was with playoffs in there, so many teams were out of the mix. And look at all the different quarterbacks that, because of that, were starting. I mean, guys like Sam Howell, for example, right? You know, Brock Purdy's on a playoff team and the number 2 seed, but Sam Howell, you take a look at multiple teams that were kind of throwing in the towel. And I wonder if you created a draft lottery type of system, if this would alleviate. Would that add? It was actually an idea from Michael Smith that was thrown out there that I think is kind of interesting. Because are we good with Week 18, just having a bunch of backup quarterbacks play? Because that's kind of what was going on this past weekend.
I think we're going to have to take a step aside.
I know. As I was getting into it, Carrington walked in.
So we'll have to continue that conversation. As much as I'm interested in talking NFL draft lottery when every other major sport has decided that that's the methodology. But Carrington Harrison is here, everyone.
Good morning, man. How are you? Rock Chalk, quite the win for the Jayhawks.
Have you told
night.
people what happened yesterday?
I have, yeah. And it's
Cody,
not good for you.
Can you chime in what happened in this situation? So this is what happened.
Yeah, you explain it the way you saw it, and I'll tell you what I believe happened. And
all of us are in the group chat talking. It's not like Alex wasn't talking in the group chat. He was talking in the group chat. So he was actively engaging in it. I'm watching the game. I pick up the FanDuel app. I see it's at plus 265. Hey, Alex, I know you live in Kansas. I know you gamble on things. Hey, can you place a wager? I'm ready to send you the money. I don't have the ability to. I can't live bet in Missouri.
Correct.
Doesn't reply. You know, I'm not asking him to.
In the group chat.
I'm not asking him to instantly reply. It then gets to plus 700. Alex, please respond. I'm ready to lay a wager. Can you please help me? I get nothing, get crickets. When the buzzer sounds, oh, hey, it's not like he responded in the morning. I could have lived with it if he didn't reply.
You would have rather me have waited till the morning?
He replied.
In a weird way, it would have seemed like you weren't in the chat that way.
He replied. I mean, literally, they show the final on the screen. He hasn't replied in the chat in 40 minutes. Now he's got all the things in the world to say.
Here's what happened. I explained it to you last night.
You were that locked into the regular season Kansas basketball game that you didn't put you on the phone?
I explained what happened. I'll explain it again. My phone, and you can check in the settings, I have Do Not Disturb on weeknights. It is scheduled. You know how you can schedule it? They automatically goes to Do Not Disturb at a certain time. KU with 5 minutes or so to go. I'm watching the game. Phone's sitting next to me. Doesn't vibrate, thank goodness, because you guys sent a million texts anyway.
I wouldn't have sent a million texts. We sent a million texts about you not replying.
Carrington, you send a million texts about everything.
Carrington can't hear you.
I would have thought.
I have so much to say to him.
I want to hear everybody.
I have so much to say to him.
Well, we'll get to the group chat issue, but also real quick. So he's right. Do Not Disturb is on. I didn't check my phone. When the game's over, just because Do Not Disturb is on doesn't mean that I'm not ever checking my phone again. I just don't want to be bothered. So I'm watching the game. I'm locked in. I'm upset. K's down by 10. They're not playing well at all. Can't make a damn layup. Was awful. Defense was terrible for a while.
Why are you upset? You know they're going to win.
And so I'm not paying attention. Then I'm happy. Obviously, KU wins.
Yeah, now you instantly go to the group chat.
I go to my phone. I've got 25 texts from you. My brother-in-law sent me 3 because he sent me a similar text. But guess what? He lives in the great state of Kansas, and he actually made the bet.
That's his fault.
No, he made the bet because he can. Am I the only person in Kansas, by the way, you know, C-Dot?
In the group chat, there's not the 2 people I know in the state of Kansas that gamble.
You only text in the group chat?
Are you and Ben Heisler?
Rob?
Nobody. Rob was at the game. I text Rob.
Your producer.
I can show you. I text Rob and said he said I don't think it'll go through. I can show you the text.
I hate to break to you. We can break in Rob. I don't want to speak for the man, but that sounds like he might have been actually pulling one over on you because he texted you back. That means he has cell signal.
Yeah, but you know how just because you can send one text, you and I both tried to place a live wager. There's like 7 things that have to happen. The internet's got to be humming all at one time in order for you to get the live bet.
Hey, Carrington, you know who made a live bet last night?
You probably did.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody did.
Since when was I on call for you though? You're acting like it's my fault that I didn't answer your text.
You know what? I'll just remember this. All right.
And Carrington, and this is a part of a bigger issue here. And the reason I would imagine why Gold had that text on alert silenced is because we've talked about this on this very show, the volume of text messages sent in that group chat, which is why myself and Steven Spector made the wise decision to be removed from that chat. If the volume of texts, and I want to say you are probably chief amongst the offenders in this regard.
I'm a chief offender.
Yeah, is that if you simply sent less messages, guys wouldn't put that chat on Do Not Disturb or Alert Silenced, and then Gold would have gotten your message, and you would have gotten...
It's my fault.
Yes.
You're blaming the victim here.
I
That's
like
what
you,
we do.
Carrington. I like you. I like interacting with you in between our shows. But you are flagrant with the volume of texts that you send in that chat group.
You know, you could have sent me. Why didn't you just send me a text directly, or told me if it was that desperate?
The only reason I didn't do it is because Cody, you were there. He was commenting. It's not like
he was not. Cody was not there.
Cody has that thing to listen
He was
to.
out of there as well. And
I didn't catch back up this morning. I don't mean.
My last text
Based
to
on
you,
my research, it appeared Gold was in the group chat, and then he wasn't in the group
so
chat.
at
Yes.
9:29 was the last time I responded to a message.
Yeah, and I
On
sent
my
you on 97. Hey, can you help?
No, it
it's
was
not
not
like you don't gotta be. I'm
9:37.
not asking you to be on call for me.
It wasn't
Hey, big dog,
9:37.
we're on the same team here. You guys are mad
Carrington,
at
see
me
this?
for
What does
trying
it
to
say?
help build station camaraderie.
That's not what
you
it
sent-
is.
You
What
sent
does that
too
say?
many texts
On my phone.
All the stuff you got. You guys are doing toy drives and thrift. You guys want our help then, but now in the group chat, there's no help.
This is not about camaraderie. Do not
also,
even say that this is about
You
camaraderie.
said it after that time. That is where my phone automatically on weeknights, what does it say? Monday through Thursday, 9:45 p.m. Do not disturb. That's a real thing that happens on my phone.
It only upset me because Cody, right when the game went final, like literally right when the game went
don't
final,
deny that.
he then now replies. Like, hold on, where were you at for the last?
I just told
30
you.
minutes. I needed your help.
My phone was right next to me.
You
Game's
cost me
over.
hundreds of dollars.
I cannot be. Well, we'll get to that because that's a lie too. How
was it a lie? It was plus 700.
Hold on. So, real quick, also, I cannot be the only person that when their team is playing in that moment, if they do have their phone on Do Not Disturb,
It's a
whatever,
early
when the game's
January
over, it's not
regular
as if
season basketball game. You guys are that locked in. March
Carrington.
Madness, I would get it.
Carrington.
Big 12.
Not
You're telling me
it doesn't
KU's third out of 18
You act like
conference
he's an
games?
ER nurse. He's just got to be on call for you at every hour of the day.
It's not like people that have Do Not Disturb don't ever check their phone.
No, but you were describing it like you were like on the edge of your seat, like
yeah, like you
hot over this KU Oklahoma
Yeah,
regular
what are you
season
guys
game.
on?
That seemed a bit. That feels like maybe you were. I don't know. I'm just saying like that seems kind of intense for.
I'm upset. I'm angry. Yeah, I can't. You know
so
what?
would you rather me lied to you and saw the text after the game and then not respond?
I don't know if you're telling the truth or not. No one knows but you. You're the only one that knows. It just seems real suspicious
It's also a
of
lie
when
that
you
you
started
would've-
replying.
You saying you lost out on $500 is not truthful because you and I both know how live betting works. Even if I would have been there, responded by the time, and I don't use FanDuel. I'll just be honest. I don't. That's not the app that I have money in, and so I don't have money in a FanDuel
That's
account.
an advertiser of this station. I use BetMGM, but it's fine.
Carrington gets paid by them. I don't get paid by anybody, so I don't have to give anybody any love. But so basically, when you look at
now we're starting to. You see how we're starting to peel back the layers here of why this bet didn't get made.
So my money's not. You would have to Venmo me. By the time all this would have happened, that would not have been 7-1.
You couldn't just put the $50 up and then I just give you the $50.
The 7-1. The 7-1 was on the board for 60 seconds, Carrington. Like that. By 60 seconds.
Okay,
There's a good chance you wouldn't have got 7-1.
Then it might have been plus 550.
How much money were you trying to put on it?
I was going to bet $50 on it. I mean, we'll never know now.
I actually feel special. I'm the only person you know in the great state of Kansas that can make bets for you.
Yeah, you or Heis. I would only
move
two.
to Kansas,
or
man.
Rob. Rob's at the game.
I would have made a bet for you.
Heis has 7 kids.
I actually have a FanDuel account, unlike Gold. I could have got that bet in for you.
Why didn't you text Nick?
Yeah, you could have.
I thought
you guys were close too.
I thought Nick was in our group. I don't know. At this point, I don't know who. Everybody other than this show. Everybody other than this show actively participates in the group chat.
Dude, you know what it is?
Gold participates.
It is just like, here's what it is.
Until he did.
Here's what the group chat is. It's the equivalent of whenever we have a station meeting when it's just like everybody acts like you want to get in and out of there as quickly as possible, and then it's everyone just getting jokes off for 30 minutes. That's what the group chat is.
Yesterday. That's not how the station meeting went. I'm all about efficiency here. Let's get things done efficiently.
When we have in-person meetings, it is the Carrington Harrison stand-up special.
It's open mic
Let
night?
me get some jokes off here.
No, that's okay. That might be second. The first is normally Bob making fun of Binkley for just existing. Binkley will just be sitting there, and Fesco will just start making fun of him.
Also accurate.
Yeah, okay. So then, yes, normally I will definitely get a couple Odyssey jokes off over the course of it. I'm not going to deny that. I will definitely make fun. Right now, I bet you check the Odyssey app. It's probably broken right now. People listening have not heard the segment.
Hey, we on this show, we support and love the Odyssey
We
app.
think it's the best app on the App Store. I don't know why you bring that up.
See, you've told about it 7 lies in this entire conversation. I haven't lied to you once. You've told me 7 lies. The Saints the best app.
Is it in our contract? What's the state on the Odyssey app? Am I allowed to tell the truth, or do I have to just like play company man?
I mean, at this point, I'm not really that worried about getting fired, so I'm just gonna tell the
Here's
truth
the
about
good
the
news
Odyssey
is,
app.
if the
It's
bosses
terrible.
are trying to listen in that it's terrible, they wouldn't hear it.
It's
Because
terrible.
they have to listen on that.
The Odyssey app is terrible. I know the Odyssey app is terrible. You guys know the Odyssey app is terrible.
We are all getting pulled into the boss's office.
Terrible. What are we arguing about? If you want to listen to the show, listen to it live on the radio. That's your best chance to get this
They're on
content.
the podcast page.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That works.
Goodness.
That works. The podcast page works.
Podcast works okay.
Oh, I go on Apple to get the podcast for the station.
yeah.
The podcast link on there's never failed me on Apple's. Odyssey's completely different story.
I think this was a productive
Text line is correct.
conversation.
Text line's right. They're right. They think that I'm getting back at you for the rib stuff. Maybe
That's
true.
what I'm saying.
Maybe that's true.
Just, again,
The last time you were in here and we had an argument about financial related, it was you taking extra money off the lunch that was offered.
if you had replied the next day and been like, "Oh man, I just now," it was just
this
so
is good to know.
It was
I
just
will lie
so
to you next
convenient
time.
of when you replied. It
This
was
is
like
good to know.
literally, Fran Fraschilla is reading the score of the game, and I was like, "Oh hey, just saw." I've been asking you to help me for the last 9 minutes.
Why didn't you sidebar text him? Why didn't you just text him individually?
You did not do that. That was an option.
Now I know I have to. I mean, I have called you before, so it's not like it'd be unusual. Okay,
If
you
you
know
would have
what?
called me, hey, Gold, real quick, can you make a bet? I 100% would have done it. I would have said, hey, you got to Venmo me or I got to move some money around. But
You just place it on the app you like using. I mean, it's like the odds are going to be drastically different.
That as well. Yeah.
All right, you know what? I messed up, man.
You
I
should
made a
just
mistake.
move to Kansas, man. This would just
You live
rectify
4
all
minutes
these
from the
issues.
state line. You live 4 minutes. All the time
Don't
you
move
spent,
to Kansas.
all the
Don't
time you
let them
spent
pressure you
texting
into
me,
it.
you could have hopped in your car and gone right across the border.
That's not how live betting works. Live
betting doesn't work where you text someone in another state and they call and make a bet. That's illegal, Carrington. That's actually illegal.
Oh, wow.
You're trying to have me break the law.
Wow. That's
Making
illegal?
a bet on behalf of somebody else.
I didn't know that was illegal. That's
Technically,
illegal?
yes. Obviously, people do it, but yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. Wow.
That's the kind of law they're not worried about.
Yeah, I didn't know who's gonna arrest me for that. We think the
I don't know,
KCPD
man.
showing up like,
I don't
hey,
know, man.
I hope they got better things to do.
Hey, the boys in blue love Cody and Gold.
Actually, not Nick. He tried to kill a cop.
Well, I mean, that's not completely accurate.
The way you don't phrase it like that.
Yeah.
Do not phrase it.
I had no clue you guys had iced tea as the board op from Joe. I did not know. I don't want anything to do with
my
this.
goodness.
I don't want anything
Nick
to
threw
do
a
with
baseball,
this.
a police officer.
Came to give us a radar gun to see how hard we could throw. Nick threw it at his head.
Nick threw a baseball, almost hit the officer in the head.
Well, he's
And
crowding the plate.
Cody phrasing it like that.
Crowding the plate.
My
Wow.
He doesn't sound apologetic, does he?
Yo. You guys are worried about the Odyssey app comment. That's the one that gets the show canceled.
I don't know. We had a very long conversation about Forrest Gump that got out of control.
We
the
talked
other day,
about
too, so
Forrest Gump.
who
Are you a
knows?
fan of Forrest Gump?
Who doesn't love the movie Forrest Gump?
Yeah, okay.
We
There's
did
somebody that doesn't like Forrest Gump as a movie?
No.
Well,
No, it
it's
was
more
about the sequel.
Jenny. Jenny's a villain, and she had AIDS, and she knew it when she had sex with Forrest Gump, and then.
Oh, I 100% believe that.
Yeah.
I believe everything he is saying about Jenny. I think
told me I have AIDS.
I don't want to have anything to do with this anymore.
probably
We have gotten
the best time.
AIDS jokes and cop killing references. I want nothing to do with this.
Hey, you came in here. You walked in
The
here.
opinions expressed on this show reflect only Cody and Gold. Do not reflect Carrington
Drive.
Harrison, Rob Britton, or The Drive. I am happy from 2 to 6. I'm not bothering anybody. I'm minding my own business.
Just give
I
me
want
a-
to keep it that way. Rock, Chalk, Ema, Tiger. I'm here for everybody. We are the show of inclusion from 2 to 6. I don't know what's going on this show. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm signing off. This might be my last appearance ever on this show.
Really?
Last one. I can't do it.
This is it, huh?
This show is toxic is what it is.
We did pretty good. We made it like 16 minutes without out of control.
Absolutely toxic
wow.
programming on this show that I want nothing to do with. Don't podcast this.
There you go.
I see you guys.
That's Carrington. I told you, when we talked about it around 10:20, I told you he's going to come in the studio. He's going to be upset with me.
You owe me money.
I see he thinks I owe him $500.
By the way, people have brought up, a lot of people are saying this on the text line. I don't know if you guys have caught this the last couple months or so. A lot of people are saying you can listen live on the Apple Music app. I'm not condoning that. I'm saying you should listen on the Odyssey app. But for whatever reason, if that's not working for you, I guess if you have Apple Music, you can listen live on there. Again, don't do that. Do not listen live on the Apple Music app.
Use the Odyssey app.
Use the Odyssey app. The Apple Music app works perfectly, but I mean,
use the Odyssey
by
app.
no means should you try using that instead. Do not do it. If you do it and I find out about it, we're banning you from listening.
You heard him.
Yep.
Under what?
Just
how?
don't do it.
Okay.
Don't test me.
Don't find out if the Apple Music Live listen feature.
Don't even go and try it right now to see if it works better. Don't.
Wise words from Nick Schwartz.
Coming up next,
I guess we'll have that quarterback conversation.
Yeah, we'll
later.
do that another time. I'm glad we got that addressed. Clearly, Carrington was frustrated, and I think it's settled now. I think we've moved on.
And then he found what it's like to be on this show if you're here too long.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't feel like we accomplished much during that conversation.
Well, his frustration was out there. Most people actually understand, I think, why I didn't make the bet for him.
I agree.
I think it's impossible to ask someone to live bet for you in person unless you are already talking
and
to that
don't
person.
do it in a group chat, because even if you don't have the group chat muted, we've all been in those chats where it's like a flood of messages. You just kind of tune out after a while.
All right, coming up next, we'll get to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. There's a stat about the Chiefs and how they fare in the playoffs. I don't think it matters as much as the past. I'll tell you why next.
You're listening to Cody and Gold, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Don't miss Alex's That Betting Show every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Right here on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text JUDGE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text JUDGE to 321-321. That's JUDGE to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
This is for all you guys on Viagra. ED pills are no longer needed. The brutal side effects like 4-hour headaches, blurred vision, and that flush feeling can all be put behind you with our treatment. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the in your arteries and restoring function naturally. Guys, let me be clear. Pills will never fix your problem. Our equipment is the latest technology, and our medical staff is the best in the industry. And right now, we're offering a free treatment just for coming in. That's right. You can try this treatment at no cost. If you suffer from ED or Peyronie's disease, give West Coast Men's Health a call today. It's not just about better health. It's about a better life.
Call now, 913-363-9439. That's 913-363-9439. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Hey, it's Josh Klingler. You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today, based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's value without having to move. That's TrueHold.com.
Hey, I'm Andy, and every morning I wake up thinking about shaving. When I started Harry's almost a decade ago, the shaving industry was a mess. Flashy, overpriced razors as far as the eye could see. I just wanted a great shave at a fair price. Too much to ask? I didn't think so, and that's why I started Harry's. 10 years and 20 million Harry's customers later, we're still obsessed with giving you a quality shave experience. Sharper blades, a better lubricating strip, and making our handle grippy in all the right places? All upgrades based on your feedback. And it all comes at a great price. Seriously, as low as $2 per cartridge. These days, my mornings are a little bit different. Morning, girls. But I still wake up thinking about shaving. Our starter set has everything you need for a close, comfortable shave. 5-blade German-engineered razor, weighted handle, and shave gel. Get yours now for just $3 with free shipping, backed by our quality guarantee. Just go to harrys.com now and enter code JOY at checkout. That's harrys.com, code JOY.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation and discreet shipping if prescribed. You'll love your results. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
When temperatures drop, COVID-19 cases may rise. So, if you test positive and are at high risk, act fast. Even if your symptoms feel mild, ask your provider if an authorized oral treatment could be right for you. Visit treatcovid19.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Mild today with a little bit of sun, high of 54.
Weather brought to you by Barbasol Shaving Cream. Choose Barbasol Shaving Cream for a thick lather and close, comfortable shave. Barbasol, the American original for over 100 years. Better buy Barbasol.
NFL playoff coverage on 610 Sports Radio is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Half Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner, the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Chiefs Red Half Hour here on Cody and Gold. It is presented by Greenway Ford. A new day. It's a new way at the all-new Greenway Ford. Reminder, 1 hour from now, Josh Klingler going to join us, our Chiefs sideline reporter, of course, host of Fesco in the morning. I think typically if you look at NFL teams and you're entering the postseason, you're trying to figure out, like, why is one team, other than just the obvious of how they're playing, a potential good bet, right, for the playoffs. And you look, all right, well, how do they fare against everybody? The Chiefs are 6-2 against playoff teams. Doesn't get any better than that. 6-2 against playoff teams.
So that's win percentage out of any of the teams remaining in the playoffs.
Yeah, it does not get any better than that. And I think a lot of times you would tout that. And maybe you think you still should. I personally look at it a little bit differently this go around, because we know two of the losses. Yeah, I mean, it's Buffalo and Cincinnati. And because one of them is Cincinnati, and we know they're 3-0 in the last calendar year, and one of those was in the title game in the playoffs at Arrowhead, it doesn't feel as like, normally I'd be like, oh man, 6-2, 6-2, they're the best team in the AFC. Like, I'm still not convinced they're the best team in the AFC. Doesn't mean you can't get to a Super Bowl. We know, like last year, we didn't think Cincinnati, Cody, was the best team in the AFC, but they represented the AFC.
Over the last 3 regular seasons, the Chiefs are 30-10. I mean, they're phenomenal, right? Of those 10 losses, 4 have come against Buffalo and Cincinnati. I get it. It makes up a massive percentage. But in this particular year, more than even last year, because they had to face both, they don't have to. This record matters because by any other standard, they're 0-1. And they're 1-0 against anyone else they're likely to face. Or 2-0 against the Chargers. They've beaten everybody in every matchup, and they're 3-0 in the games in which they played for the most likely matchup they are to see in the second round. And they're clearly better than Miami or Baltimore. By the way, Miami's already ruled out Tua. They're going to start Skylar Thompson. So even if they pulled a massive upset, you'd get Skylar Thompson in the second round. And Lamar Jackson now is reportedly gearing towards not playing in this upcoming game.
This seems like sort of a very misleading statistic, the 6-2 number.
Well, that's kind of what I'm kind of getting at.
Last year we had the same conversation, though, about why it was bad Kansas City had a bad record against playoff
No.
teams.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying that 6-2 number, it's not just the 2 losses, Gold. It's also the fact that 3 of those wins came against NFC teams. A 10-point win against a Buccaneers team, that's not any good. A 14-point win against the Seahawks team, that's not any good. And a 21-point win against the Niners, who we all know has been a completely different team since that game.
I guess here's how you figure it out. I mean, honestly, if I told you the Chiefs were 2-6, but the 2 wins were Buffalo and Cincinnati, how would you feel?
I would feel
Worse.
better. Nope, I would feel better.
See, I don't think
the only teams I care about.
So I wouldn't. So even though I agree that 6-2 is, to what I said, it's Buffalo. I don't think I'd feel great at 2-6 because you're also at that point in time just
the teams that matter.
This is what.
Yeah, but if you were 2-6, the Chiefs would be well, depending on the chart. I mean, they might be a 5 seed right now in the postseason, playing on the road throughout.
But knowing that your ceiling is good enough to beat the best teams that matter, because. If I just took,
the ceiling was, man. They didn't get blown out in those games against Cincinnati and Buffalo.
But if I took out the NFC teams and said, okay, you're 3-2 against AFC playoff teams with a point differential of 9.
Okay,
that's not quite the same picture as 6-2 with a 54-point playoff differential, which makes it seem like they're a juggernaut. Which in the AFC. They haven't been. Now, yet you don't discredit them for winning 2 games against the Chargers and beating the Jaguars by 10, but that paints a completely different picture than including those NFC games.
To be clear, though, Cincinnati and Buffalo are no better than that. I think what this tells me is that the AFC playoffs are a coin flip, and the Chiefs have to be in less of them.
That's my point.
Being in less of them is a huge advantage because, by the way, Cincinnati is 3-1 against playoff teams, and they have a plus 13 differential, pretty much a wash, against the AFC teams. I'm specifically talking about the AFC teams.
And they either be 4-1 or 3-2.
And Buffalo is also
3-1. We'll never have our answer because that game's not getting made up.
Yeah, but one of them would have tacked on an extra loss. Doesn't really matter. Cincinnati or Buffalo are both 3-1. One of them would have been 3-2, the same as Kansas City against AFC playoff teams, with a point differential very similar to that of Kansas City.
That's kind of my point. It's not that the Chiefs are no good. It's that using that 6-2 number, the 50, that it's misleading. It almost makes it seem like, wow, this team's a juggernaut. They're so much more battle tested than everybody, when I don't think it's really the case. I think they are just the same as all of those other teams in the AFC that we're taking seriously.
I think that I think they're a hair better, and I don't know that this statistic does it. I think that they're a hair better than some of the other teams, but there is a massive advantage in, I think once we get to the divisional round, every single game, I'm not talking about Vegas odds or any of this, every single game will be either team can win this is a 50-50 shot, good luck. Because most likely it's going to be the Chargers in Jacksonville versus the Chiefs, and it's going to be Cincinnati and Buffalo, especially because Baltimore's not likely to have Lamar Jackson, and Miami doesn't have Tua. It's going to be Skylar and Tyler Huntley versus 2 of the best teams in the AFC. So the Bills... Bengals feels like a foregone conclusion against 2 teams who are going to play each other for a coin flip game, and the Chiefs are also probably going to end up in a coin flip game. Just based on how those Chargers games went this year, I'd feel slightly better against Jacksonville than I would against the Chargers, but it feels like a game you can lose based on the way the AFC strikes out. The best news for you ever is that you only have to really do it once that bad.
Well, yeah, you're not going to play Buffalo and Cincinnati. You're playing only one of the 2.
But I think that there's something to having an ability to regularly beat playoff teams. I understand you're saying, 49ers are a completely different team by then. They were playing okay football at that moment. Then they got their ass kicked by the Chiefs, and then they played their best football probably right after that. But that's just like they just got better in 5 days? No, they were a really good team. The day they played Kansas City, they just got beat.
I think they had a couple. I'm with you.
This also speaks to the AFC is way better than the NFC. Let's just be clear on that. That's obvious, and we all know that. I feel like no matter who wins the Super Bowl, I'm choosing the AFC team. I don't care which one gets there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what
Miami versus San Francisco.
Miami gets there with Skylar Thompson, then I'm just going to pick them.
Miami versus Philadelphia.
Miami would have gone through Buffalo, Kansas City, and Cincinnati to get to the Super Bowl. I'll give them all the credit, whatever. I don't know. Miami, they would have gone through Buffalo, Kansas City, then most likely Cincinnati.
No, I'm with you. I mean, I think yesterday I said the same thing. Like right now, you can bet on the AFC versus NFC already. AFC was like minus 1.5 against the NFC. I would take AFC minus 1.5 for the Super Bowl. Right
Without
now.
even knowing the matchup. I mean, it's not going to be Miami, so it's kind of a fruitless conversation, but I'm pretty sure that if Miami got through the Chiefs, the Bills, Chiefs, and Bengals, we would probably be taking them very seriously. Be like, well, I guess Skylar Thompson's the Dolphins starter next year because, and by the way, it's funny that we would not take them seriously going to the Super Bowl, even though the San Francisco 49ers, in your hypothetical, would have gotten there with Brock Purdy. I know we've seen more games
and
of him.
Best defense in football, but I get, like you said, this whole thing is not going to happen, so yeah.
That would be a wild end
Skylar
result
Thompson, Brock Purdy, Super Bowl, yeah.
I'm not watching that.
Yeah,
let's just start.
Yeah,
now.
you would.
I'm not watching Skylar Thompson versus Brock Purdy.
It's the Super Bowl. Normally, I'm with you, Cody.
Stop.
I'm not watching that.
Normally, I'm with you, but come on, it's the Super Bowl. You'll be watching.
Yeah, we had Nate Taylor in studio with us yesterday, or on the show yesterday, I should say. And he was talking about the neutral site dilemma that the NFL has. We know that if it's Chiefs and Bills, it's going to be a neutral site. He said that he thinks the league could wait until after the divisional round, which means you're only getting 5-6 days heads up. I think that's – I don't just –
No, Mike Florio is saying that it might be earlier
Mike
this week.
Florio last night was reporting that he thinks it'll happen this week. This morning, Bob Fesco on Fesco in the Morning had said he's being told from league sources that it's leaning towards Atlanta being that actual neutral site. And if you start eliminating, you start going around, we know Indy already said no. We know that there's multiple teams that are already in the playoffs, so you can't play there. Last night in that group chat, we were discussing, actually, when I was responding at the time in the group chat, that I looked it up. Houston does have a Monster Jam event that Saturday and Sunday, so NRG Stadium's unavailable. So Atlanta does make sense. So, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. What was really interesting, though, Bob had mentioned this morning, though, he was hearing that the Bills wanted Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
Those are 3-hour drives from Buffalo.
3-hour drives. The Chiefs really want Vegas.
Which is not a drive to either.
For anybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Atlanta out of the scenarios does seem to be the fairest if that's what happens. I'm sorry, Buffalo. I'm sure you do want to go to Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
You can't blame for trying, can you?
Sure, I guess. You know what? Let's go play this game in Lincoln, Nebraska at Memorial Stadium while we're at it. Yeah. No.
That was too obvious. See, they couldn't choose MetLife. Too obvious. They had to go slightly further away so it didn't seem so painfully obvious.
Look, Atlanta makes a ton of sense. If that's where it ends up, so be it. Whatever.
I don't think Vegas is unfair. I want to be very clear on that. I don't think that that's a ridiculous request. Nobody from Kansas City, not nobody, but that's not a drivable distance for most people. Most people are going to fly to Vegas. There's just as many flights to Vegas from Kansas City as there is from Buffalo to Vegas.
Sure.
Like, you can all get there. They have a gajillion hotels. The only argument you would make is they're more comfortable in that stadium, which I don't think really matters that much. I don't know.
Chiefs play there once
Dude,
a year.
From an even Vegas betting standpoint, like you were worried about Detroit, what would that be worth? A quarter of a point?
No, I think with Detroit,
Like,
by
I
the way,
don't know.
luckily it's not going to be Detroit because they have some other turf stuff going on. But Detroit, Buffalo played there twice, so it would be a third time. That's what
I know, but Kansas City's played in Vegas 40 times. It's not that many, but whatever long they've been in Vegas.
But not even twice in one season.
No, but they've played there a lot.
Sure.
I don't know.
This is probably why also Buffalo isn't wanting that destination, which is why the NFL, based on what Bob was hearing this morning, Atlanta seems to be the favorite site now if we actually get the neutral site game, which is a big if. Both teams have to win multiple. Well, Buffalo has to win multiple games. The Chiefs have to win one.
It doesn't seem like, to me, this always made sense. Like when we started throwing out cities, we threw out the first few that made sense, and Atlanta was immediately on the list.
Indy, Atlanta, Dallas.
New Orleans, Dallas, and it's like you can't choose an AFC team. So you can eliminate any AFC team in the playoffs. You can't choose it. Just in the off chance Skylar Thompson goes on a run, you can't choose Miami, and then all of a sudden you're in an AFC title. Well, but
way
you're
too
also
expensive a city to make fans go to, I think personally. But
it doesn't matter. But you're in an AFC title game, and then all of a sudden you happen to be playing a road game. You can't do it, right? So you can't choose anyone in the AFC title game, and you can't choose the stadiums that already have scheduled events. Indy's got a volleyball tournament, Monster Jam going to NRG. So by the time you narrow it down, the only cities remaining that make sense are New Orleans, Atlanta, or Nashville. If you're not going to give Kansas City its preferred destination of Las Vegas. Now, this is the one argument for all the stuff we've talked about. Does Kansas City, the team that is technically the 1 seed, deserve their preferred choice if it is neutral? And my thought is no, you should, if it's neutral, make it neutral. That's also why you can't listen to Buffalo.
Exactly.
In this.
Yeah,
you can't put it in Pittsburgh or Cleveland. You have to figure out honestly, if that's really what happened, if Kansas City's like, we won Vegas, you want to give us a top choice, we won Vegas, and they gave those two cities, then choose none of those cities and just go to Atlanta.
I don't think the Chiefs shouldn't have their choice of neutral site, even though I disagree with the whole format. I don't think the Chiefs should get to pick the neutral site.
Now that it's there, yeah.
But with that said, you can't call it
Louis.
a neutral site and play it in Pittsburgh. I'm sorry. I mean, that's just insane. 3-hour drive. That's just not neutral. That's crazy.
It's like 12 for Kansas City.
Yeah. So, look, hopefully Buffalo just loses prior to then, and the Chiefs get to host it anyway. And if that's the case, we all know the only scenario the Chiefs would have to worry about the neutral site is if they were going up against Buffalo. Kansas City's going to have to win the divisional round game. Buffalo's going to have to win a wild card and divisional round game in order for this to become reality. But I hope Orio's reporting is correct, in which we'll find out this week. I think it's nuts that you might have to wait until another week and a half or 2 weeks almost to find out where it's going to be, which is nuts.
Nate's really locked in the league. The way Nate was describing it was almost like the league was going to be embarrassed to announce it because, then people will be thinking about that neutral site game. I'm like, you don't have to be embarrassed by this. That's the part I didn't understand. This is not an embarrassing situation. If the league is worried about bringing this up because then it's going to bring back up the possibility of a neutral site AFC Championship game, which they know certain people are against. It's not, you don't have to treat it that way. If you're the NFL, you should be treating it like we did a fair thing. We're treating the teams fairly, and this is how we're acting. That's how they should act in this scenario. Whether you agree or others disagree or don't, that's how the NFL should pitch this. Hey, if it's a neutral site, this is where we're going. Because you really should. That's the one thing the NFL is actually really good at. I'll give them credit. They are very good at catering to fans. It is a fan, their fans love their sport. Give them a chance to get there.
With the destination that I saw Mike Florio throw out, he was just giving his personal preference. He was throwing out like Chicago and Lambeau. And
I still don't have a problem with Chicago.
So people even that mention Nashville. Chicago, great city. Seriously,
Nashville,
Chicago,
great city.
Chicago, one of my favorite cities. Nashville, also a top 5 city for me. Like Chicago, Nashville, and Vegas, top 5 cities for me, just in terms of great cities.
What are your top 5?
He already listed 3, so he only needs 2 more.
Yeah. So for me,
give you 8 seconds. Name your top 8 cities.
Top 8? I don't know if I can do that. Vegas, Chicago, Nashville. I don't have 8 actually.
Didn't even list Kansas City. Embarrassing.
I was going to get there.
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti.
Honestly, I don't have 8 favorite cities.
Okay, those aren't.
I haven't even been to.
Did I say Gruyere?
I haven't even
Blue.
been.
Cody, those are cheeses.
Sorry,
I don't think I've been to 8. Like honestly, I don't know if I've been to 8 truly different cities, big cities. 8 big. New York City, wasn't a huge fan of New York City.
Houston, you live there.
I did. Yeah.
Boise.
That's not amazing. I don't care.
Who cares? That could be your favorite city. Your favorite city doesn't need to be big.
I've never heard anybody talk about Houston like you got to go.
Exactly. No, you're right. Great restaurants.
For being as big of a city as it is, I'm surprised that more people aren't like, man, we're going to take a little weekend trip down to Houston.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, it was fine.
Anyway, I bring it up because Chicago, as much as it's a great city, they have major field problems. Well, it's not like their stadium, they're trying to get a new one. The stadium's not great, but also the field sucks. You're not scheduling an AFC title game in a place where the field's terrible. In fairness, the Raiders stadium last week wasn't great either.
Here's the thing about the field stuff, because there's an article up at The Athletic right now. If you guys happen to be members or whatever, or sign up for a free trial to read it if you want.
Look at you promoting it.
It's relatively, our guy Nate Taylor works there. They do good work, usually. So the way...
Usually.
Wow. Nice little caveat.
Yeah.
A few pieces that you hate.
Yeah.
But for the most part, big fan of when they do the Grinky retrospectives, whatever. They did a huge article today that got released between a couple of writers talking about the current field issues in Kansas City. And it was staggering to the point of like, you know what? I do like dunking on some of these teams who are constantly hurt, but it is a stark reminder that there might be a very big reason.
I mean, my
really
goodness, I
up.
jumped. If you watched the video stream, you hope you enjoyed that. My goodness.
I wasn't expecting that.
No, I was not either.
But they where was I? The Chiefs.
There was a tab open on a screen from a prior show that I didn't know
had
about.
no idea
Apparently
what that was.
fired up. But they were looking at the studies that the NFL has done and then the studies that other people look at that are related to this. There might be a reason why the Chiefs are just healthier. The difference between playing on a grass turf and playing on grass and playing on turf shows an injury stuff. And then a particular type of turf that exists only for a few teams is even worse. So it's like for all these times, and by the way, you might be surprised to find out SoFi is one of those that is capable of having one of the worst lead injury problems. I guess I didn't realize this was going to become an NFL storyline this year. The Chiefs are probably healthier because they simply can take care of their field. Why are there so many bad fields? And then part of this, honestly, comes back to the conversation we just had about the site. Monster truck rally right after. It's the amount of stuff. Yeah. Like the Royals, they want a new downtown stadium. They want to put a bunch of events there. The Arrowhead, they're going to want a new stadium. They're going to put the stuff there. The more stuff you put into your stadium, the more events you have there constantly. And this is what's happening. These big, super mega stadiums being built are having a hard time keeping their fields looking consistently nice.
Yeah,
it's causing injury issues.
Yeah, these owners, it's the bot. They're trying to get money first and foremost. That's a lot of the owners' top priority. And so by having more events at these stadiums, that's how they do it. I think, if you're looking at potential repercussions, we've seen the NFLPA come out this year.
Oh, they've been noisy.
And more players than ever are saying they want everybody to go back to grass fields, natural grass fields. It's kind of funny how we've gone back to that, because for a while I was like, oh wow, this new this artificial turf, but it's so much better than the old surface, and it's great and it looks great and all that. But now players are starting to see some of the heck. Even Atlanta's not grass. We're talking about neutral site. It's not grass. No. It's some of the turf that people have been complaining about as well.
In fairness, it's not the worst offender according to this report in the statistical study. That's the Giants, Jets, Lions, Vikings, Saints, and Colts.
Like the
Bengals,
the Cardinals Week 1 game, the Chiefs played out there, and that's one of those where I think they wheel in the turf. Right, they have it on they roll it in. The Super Bowl, thank goodness, every Super Bowl they bring in brand new turf. So whether it was that is a brand new, if it's a grass surface, they redo this, so that hopefully won't be a problem.
See how it was a problem in Arizona to start the season.
How the Raiders? Is it just to me? You mentioned the events. The events shouldn't be problematic if you're one of these new stadiums, though, Cody, where you roll the turf in. If you're Allegiant Stadium and you're in the entertainment capital of the world and you have concerts there, you roll the field out. It should not matter if the Shakira's having a concert the night before.
It's obviously there. It's probably
that's what happened in Mexico City. She ruined the field.
Look, everyone probably, or hell, the Royals had a concert a couple months ago, and it just looks worse. It didn't play worse. It just looks a little bad, right? Some dead grass spots. Maybe we're just lucky. Maybe we play in a city in which both stadiums always look immaculate. Because for whatever
does
reason,
a great job with
and look, Arrowhead was not always that way, and we've talked about
Carl Peterson, the green paint.
I think some of it is just I think some of it really does come down to the cheapness of it and the NFL's testing policy. The NFL's testing policy for this is just to have one dude go out there who, by the way, is in charge of the field. So imagine his bias in that situation. It's his field he's in charge of. And then he jumps on it a couple of times, feels good, no bubbles, problem solved. And you're like, that's it? That's your basis of it? And the players are having an issue finding those non-dead spots. So in the last game this happened. Snead fell down on a play. It's what happened to Snead there? I'm like, he stepped into a pocket. He stepped on the field where he should have footing, and he didn't have footing. That's what happened in Vegas. Look on the play that he almost got Devontae Adams to moss him. He fell because he stepped on a weird part of the field that just didn't have the footing it's there. I guess I don't know if this is just an Arrowhead appreciation conversation, because I am very thankful for that. But in talking about these sites, I can't believe I'm now factoring that in. It's making me even more happy they're not going a place like Indianapolis that reportedly has one of these fields that has been causing these problems.
Yeah, and this is why Chicago's out of the picture whatsoever. Besides the NFL,
people have been talking about just playing a rock on their field.
Yeah, and I just think the NFL, to make it easier, wants to play indoors. You may not think it's as fun, but I think the NFL wants to play this thing indoor. They don't want to have any risk with it's all of a sudden an AFC title game that is just downpour rain. They don't want to move it to a neutral site and then bring these teams to a site that's going to have terrible weather. I understand Buffalo and Kansas City
can't have terrible weather in January or February.
We know a lot has to happen. It's just these are conversations that are going on. We know both teams still have to take care of business. Nobody's acting like it's an automatic pass for both teams to get to the title game, but it's the scenario that's been discussed for the last week and a half.
Although at this point, I'm 95% sure it's going to be Cincinnati, Buffalo, and Kansas City in the divisional round.
Yeah.
As much as I'm unsure about the NFC side, I'm pretty sure all three of those teams will be playing in the divisional round, and we'll just be talking about whether or not it's the Chargers and Jacksonville taking on Kansas City.
I would be awfully surprised if those three teams are not involved. One of those, two of those three teams, I should say, are not involved in the AFC title game. I would be very, very surprised as well.
It just
the only team on the outside that's, it'd be like a team like the Chargers, which unfortunately would be a team that would play most likely the Chiefs. So that'd be the only other team you would throw into the conversation. I don't see a path for Miami. I don't see a path for the Ravens without Lamar. So
And that's it.
The Jags, I still don't. You can say, I don't respect them enough to think that they can go and rattle off a win against the Chargers and the Chiefs.
By the way, for any Buffalo Bills fan who in some way felt cheated by what took place or like the way they did the win-loss stuff because they didn't play the Cincinnati game, one, it's ridiculous to feel that way. But you got to buy, and you don't have to play a road game anyway. So, right? You're playing Skylar Thompson. You lose to that game, you were never winning the Super Bowl anyway. So you got to buy, and you get a home game and then a neutral site game. So.
And if the Chiefs slip up, Buffalo gets to host the AFC title game.
Yeah.
I mean, so they're,
and they could have lost that, right, if they had lost to Cincinnati in that game. So you're more than protected in this situation. Again, Cincinnati should still be the team who feels the worst about it because they still had the possibility for something different to happen to their team. They still could have ended up the 2 or in the rare case the 1, although we know that's not the case because the Chiefs won. They could have ended up as the 2 had they won that game, but we'll never, ever, ever get to find out.
Coming up next, we'll get to what's trending and also something we've always been able to say the last couple of years heading into the postseason about Patrick Mahomes, but I don't think we can this go around. I'll tell you what that is next.
This is Cody and Gold, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Don't miss Royals first baseman / NFL insider, Vinny Pasquantino. This football season with Cody and Gold.
My Twitter is about to unload of football tweets. First Jets game that I have free on Sunday. It's go time.
610 Sports Radio.
Make some midweek magic with Light the Lamp Wednesdays at BetMGM, an official sportsbook partner of the NHL. Place a $25 wager on any NHL player to score a goal on Wednesday, and you'll automatically receive $200 in free bets for every goal scored in the game. That's up to $1,600 in free bets. Just log into your account or download the app and sign up with BetMGM to get started. Then opt into the Light the Lamp Wednesdays promotion to receive a $200 free bet for every goal scored in the game, regardless of your prop bet's outcome. Every Wednesday at BetMGM. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager and physically present in Kansas to bet. New and existing customers offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Everyone knows about the importance of protecting our home team's franchise investment to keep them secure. What about your home's needs to keep it safe? It all starts with the roof over your head to protect you and your team at home. Ask yourself, is my home protected? Schedule an estimate with Century Roofing so we can provide you the protection you need. Trust the pillars of strength with KC-based and female-owned Century Roofing, your hometown roofing team. CenturyRoofingKC.com. Again, that's CenturyRoofingKC.com.
Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text JUDGE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text JUDGE to 321-321. That's JUDGE to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
At T-Mobile, we think about coverage differently, so we built a network powerful enough to bring high-speed 5G home internet to millions of homes across America.
Welcome to the neighborhood. You all settled in?
Yeah, we love it. Quiet location, beautiful parks, great internet.
Internet? Who are you using?
T-Mobile 5G home internet.
T-Mobile has internet?
Yep, T-Mobile's same 5G network that works great on your phone is strong enough for your home internet. Just plug it in your set.
I did not know that.
It's reliable and affordable. Just $50 a month.
Make yourself at home with fast, reliable, affordable T-Mobile 5G home internet on the network with the power to go beyond the expected. Just $50 a month with autopay. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/5G internet.
Availability limited. Qualifying credit required. Regulatory fees included in price for qualified accounts, plus $5 per month without autopay. $35 assisted support or device connection charge due at sale. See T-Mobile.com/5G Internet for details.
As a Walgreens pharmacist, I talk with people all the time about little tips and tricks for filling their Medicare prescriptions, like taking advantage of Walgreens 90-day refills to save them a trip, or using Refill by Scan, which is super easy and right on your phone. And for anybody worried about prescription costs, I say, hey, we got you, with low-cost copays on many medications.
Let's talk about making things easier. Walgreens is here. Fill your way and save at walgreens.com/Medicare. See pharmacists for restrictions and exclusions.
Bonus days are back for pros at Lowe's. You earn points and save when you buy the top pro brands you trust, like DeWalt. Right now, you can save $100 on the powerful DeWalt 8 1/4-inch carbide tipped portable table saw. Was $3.99, now just $2.99. Join today and shop bonus days, only at Lowe's. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid through 1/20. Subject to change while supplies last. Visit Lowes.com/MVPs bonus points for details.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios. Mitchell Schwartz knows what it takes to win a championship.
The Kansas City Chiefs are champions of Super Bowl 54.
Tune in every Tuesday at 3 o'clock to hear from the former All-Pro and CDOT on The Drive. 610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, and Odyssey Station. What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending, the NFLPA for the first time came out with their own All-Pro list. Typically, this is an AP All-Pro, and that'll still come out later, but the NFLPA's All-Pro is out, and Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, and Tommy Townsend, All-Pro first team. So on this, I know it's a new list, but it is the first time Chris Jones has ever been a first-team All-Pro. We'll see what the AP one is, but this one is voted on by their peers, by their teammates, among others. So I think if you look at 4 All-Pros, pretty
hey, let me ask you,
can
I ask a follow-up question to that? You said Tommy Townsend, first-team All-Pro. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Uh-huh.
That loudmouth retired punter, Dustin Colquitt, how many first-team All-Pros did he make in the 29 years that he played football?
I honestly...
I actually have the answer. It was a trick question because he had zero first-team All-Pros for Dustin Colquitt. Maybe he should put some respect on Tommy Townsend's name the next time he wants to start yapping his gums.
Nick Schwartz firing shots at former Chiefs punter,
washed up,
16-year veteran.
Yeah, washed up.
Dustin Colquitt.
Zero first-team All-Pro punter, Dustin Colquitt.
By the way, I am going to need Jason Kelce to retire so that Creed Humphrey can start getting all these All-Pro votes.
Yeah.
Because until he does,
correct,
I feel like he's just stuck in second place until Jason Kelce goes away.
Yeah, fair enough.
I love Jason, but, we're looking to try to get our guy Creed Humphrey some All-Pro votes here at some point. Next up on What's Trending, 2 big wins for Kansas and K-State, both winners last night in their Big 12 matchup. Obviously, Kansas down 10. About 5 minutes to go against Oklahoma and eventually made the comeback.
Yeah, I hope some of you bet them 7-1. It was a great value to bet.
Great value.
Yeah.
Missouri will take on Texas A&M tonight at 7:30 at Texas A&M.
Nick, you got them at 7-1, right? Someone should check. I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't think Carrington got him at 7-1.
Even higher than that for me, actually.
Yeah, 850 or something like that.
Maybe even more.
Next up on What's Trending, Lamar Jackson still questionable for the Ravens playoff game this weekend against Cincinnati. Then we also learned that Tua once again has not been cleared. He is out for the Dolphins game against Buffalo. That means Skylar Thompson is likely to start on Sunday. Is that the Sunday game? I think it's the Sunday game.
Yeah.
Start this weekend. How about that? Either way.
I think it's going to be interesting to find out whether or not Tua ever plays again, but he certainly shouldn't play the rest of this year. And Lamar, it felt like it was all trending towards it, but then all of a sudden you get here and you're like, he's still in trouble with his knee. You're like, he's not going to play either. Which means he's 6'7". Yeah. These 6'3" and 2'7" matchups against 2 of the Chiefs' biggest competitions don't seem quite as tough as it is before. Next up on What's Trending, the Carlos Correa deal. Hold on, wait. Official. Like he's actually signed with a team. Like done. Like they're going to have a press conference today to actually announce him as a member of the Minnesota Twins. So whatever the hang-ups were in all of the physicals that he had for the mini teams he almost signed with, the one with the Minnesota Twins at least went through. Remember that deal yesterday, 6 years for $200 million. Can be worth up to $270 million. And obviously the Twins have some protections, I would say, in that because of the injury stuff.
Next up on What's Trending, tomorrow we're going to have a fun programming announcement. Really excited about tomorrow, right around 10:05 to start the show. You want to be tuned in, as you always should be. But 10:05 or so tomorrow, got a fun announcement gearing up for the Chiefs playoffs that we're going to be discussing tomorrow. Can't wait for that, man.
Can you give us a hint?
Well, I think it's going to involve...
It's going to a little shade of blue as well. A little shade of blue.
But for Red Friday.
Mm-hmm.
A shade of
blue on Red Friday. I'll just leave it at that. Nick's the look on Nick's face right now.
Shade of blue.
So tomorrow at 10:05.
How are you at riddles?
Shade of blue on
Not
Red
good.
Friday. That's all I'll say. Listen at 10:05
I'm good at crossword
tomorrow.
puzzles, though.
That's cool. Good for you. Yeah.
Do you ever do a crossword puzzle?
Have I ever? Yeah. Have I ever done one? Haven't done one in years. Have I ever done one? Yeah. You strike me as someone that's on the toilet doing one.
I like crossword puzzles, not on the toilet.
I do the mini crossword for the New York Times every day.
Really?
Yeah, I could try to...
on the app or what? Because you don't
just,
obviously have
No, you just go to the website and then you just... It takes like...
Are you a Wordle guy then, too?
No, I just do that. I just do the mini crossword. I'm trying to beat my PR. I have a PR of 37 seconds.
Oh, wow.
But I'm usually hovering in between 1 to 2 minutes.
How many total clues is it?
It's 5 by 5.
Okay. Haven't done that one. I like doing crosswords, though. I don't do them as much as I used to, but they're fun.
Cool story, man. Thanks for that.
Sounds like
tomorrow, 10:05.
We won't be talking about crosswords.
Well, I promise. I promise it has nothing to do with crosswords.
Or the app.
Or the app. The best app in radio. Yeah.
It has nothing to do with any of those things. Unless you're really interested in, and in which maybe.
That's what's trending. Thinking of announcements, something we already been telling you guys about, we are really looking forward to this Friday, and that is our beer release party at Cinder Block Brewing. 6 o'clock. Dusty's going to be doing a show out there as well. We'll be hanging out. We had a great turnout last year. Kick off the postseason. Have some great beer. Once again, the playoff Pilsner. It's different beer than last year, too. So if you're like, beer was different beer. Same brewery, different beer, though. Another Pilsner. A little bit different, I've been told. Well,
you're told it's a little different?
I've told it's a little bit different.
Usually when you brew something, like in a different time, it can have a slightly different flavor component, or they could use different hops. Who knows?
I haven't tasted it.
Who's the person giving you this inside information?
I believe our boss as maybe in Bink might have been involved. I don't know. Sources, speculation, and sources. It's another Pilsner. I know it's a Pilsner.
I like that the first ever report that's included both speculation and sources.
That's right.
So their source is only speculating.
The one thing I can't... Okay, I'll add all three. Source, speculating, and I can confirm Nick won't be there.
Wow.
I can also confirm that report.
Perfect.
Is he your source? Is Nick your source on him not being there?
Yeah, please cite your sources if you're going to rip me off like
Nicholas Schwartz.
You got to protect your sources in this business.
That's right. Nicholas. It's a good one.
I'm the only one, I guess, who doesn't go by a shortened version of my name on this show.
Yeah, Cody's Cody.
You can call him Code. Code Man.
That's not short. That's longer. That's not the shortened version of my name.
But it's cooler.
It's objectively not.
We gave you a nickname last year that you didn't like. We just included an extra letter.
He's trying to figure out what it is.
I assume it's Wokey.
No. Well, we called you Chode Man Cody for a while. You didn't like that, or Chody.
It didn't last very long.
But you didn't like it.
No, I'm not a huge fan.
Shocking.
Work on some other nicknames later.
Yeah, what if I came back the week after and did my own event? Somebody on the text line says if I could do a separate event. What if I came back Friday? None of you, it's just me though. And there's no special beer release. It's just me hanging out drinking beer.
Go for it, I guess.
Have fun.
Be nice of you to actually do that for the listeners. Because if somebody hadn't had a chance, I don't know how many public things we haven't done that many public things. Only a few listeners have had a chance to actually meet you.
That's not true.
We did the toy drive twice.
Dude, we've done a toy drive twice. We did the Creed is Good video. We did the guest bartending event. We did wiffle ball. We did the thing at Kaufman.
God, we do a lot.
Yeah, I like it. What are you talking about? We do one like every 2 months.
But maybe somebody missed all 6 of those and wanted to meet you at this one.
They really don't want to meet him.
I mean, how many opportunities we got to give them?
More.
It's all about kicking off the playoffs, though. So, That's why we're going to be there on Friday.
I love that silence when you know the wheels are turning. Like, how do I transition?
Yeah, there is none. There is none.
There's just no way.
But last year, heading into the postseason, I feel like you could have said, all right, this was a problem or a weakness about number 15.
And the way the Chiefs were operating.
And about Patrick Mahomes. This year, Patrick Mahomes is going to end up winning MVP. We'll find that out the night before the Super Bowl. Again, I hope that Patrick Mahomes will be unable to attend that event because he will be getting ready for the Super Bowl, and the team will not be available for that event. That's what we can all hope happens. But he's going to win MVP, and you look at the numbers he put up this year, and you compare even his turnover numbers to guys like Burrow, same number, Josh Allen, fewer, does Patrick Mahomes does in terms of interceptions. What is the weakness this year, man? I don't know if that exists. Of course, you can always be better, but number one offense without Tyreek Hill, you got more touchdowns than anybody else in football.
Got more yards than anyone else in football.
Number one seed. Like, there's nothing that's glaring. That's like last year was obvious. Clearly too many turnovers in the first 9 weeks or whatever it was.
Well, the biggest problem with Mahomes, like everybody said he wouldn't check down. And then they got into a game against Cincinnati and he kept heaving it down the field. Remember, they dropped 8 every time and said we knew he'd get bored. That was clearly the biggest weakness for Mahomes last year. It is awfully hard to have a conversation about that this year. They have more yak yardage than any team in the NFL. He drops it off all the time. I don't even think about that as becoming an issue anymore. I think the only argument you can make, because there's 2 things that we say are critical flaws for the Chiefs that could cost them a postseason game. Their special teams and their turnovers. The problem is, so normally you'd be like, well, it's the turnovers then. That's Mahomes' biggest problem. That's his biggest weakness. And while it's probably the biggest, just saying it's that because we talk about the turns of the team is completely unfair. Because it's not just him turning it over. You mentioned his interceptions. Those are the ones he's responsible for based on the number he does it. He's about league average in that. The special teams has lost the football 5 times. Fumbles like Travis Kelce's or Tony, whatever. Like, there are much more costly turnovers for the Chiefs than just the normal interceptions under a course of a normal season Mahomes throws. It's hard for me to make a legitimate argument that it's some huge flaw. It's probably the biggest one I would make an argument is he turns it over, I don't know, a little too much. But it is hard to complain about that because we know based on NFL history, when you go for 5,400 yards and 43 touchdowns, you're probably going to turn it over a couple of times. That's just how this works.
Yeah, when it's an MVP season as well. I mean, you're having the best season. I'll say quarterback because, let's be honest, MVPs are going to quarterbacks only nowadays. So you're the best quarterback that season in football. And so it's awfully difficult knowing how talented quarterbacks are, this young group of AFC QBs we've been talking about a lot with the AFC playoff path. If you're the best of the bunch in that given year, you're having a hell of a season, and it's very hard to find what the weakness is in this particular time.
I mean, in everything else, I never thought, like, if you really look at the Chiefs season objectively, I think it's kind of hard sometimes because I think people want to view the Chiefs as weaker than they are, right? They want to view them, not as far as the Vikings go, where you're like, you just don't take them seriously, but there are people looking for a reason to be like, the Chiefs aren't as good as 14-3. I'm like, well, that's why I pointed out that 6-2 record, right? Or the fact that he's the MVP, or that they're not turning, like the team itself has, like, Mahomes is doing everything right. Everything right. He's making the spectacular plays. He's throwing for yardage. He's throwing for touchdowns. He's throwing for yardage. He's checking it down. Like, I don't know right now what you would choose to nitpick about his game. He's playing better than anyone.
I'm curious on the text line, too, 913-586-7610. Where are you guys at feeling-wise, knowing it's a bye week and all that, but entering this compared to how you felt this time last year, compared to how you felt the year they won the Super Bowl, even if you can remember back to 2018 when it was his first year as a starter, and they lost, of course, in the title game to Tom Brady and the Patriots. Like, the feeling going into the postseason about the team. I know those first 2 years, it was the unknown. You hadn't experienced the Super Bowl win. You hadn't experienced the AFC title game, so that was all fresh and new for everybody. Now you're on the verge of potentially playing in 5 straight, but as a team going in, like, do you feel better right now than you did a year ago entering the postseason, knowing what you are, knowing what the rest of the teams are, or do you feel worse? Because last year they weren't the number 1 seed heading into the postseason. They weren't. They were the 2. They ended up hosting, as we know, because Tennessee got upset.
And we didn't take the 1 seed all that seriously, so we still thought that they were better than the 1 seed.
But did you feel like, because for me, knowing how it's all played out, and also a year now I saw Cincinnati beat you again, like, Kansas City has as good of a chance as anybody to win it. They're Super Bowl favorites for a reason, but
There's more people standing in their way.
They're definitely not. Oh my gosh, the big bad Chiefs. Nobody can beat them. Like maybe you felt a year or two ago. But they have just as good of a shot as anybody, man, to hoist the Lombardi Trophy, as far as I'm concerned.
Better about the team, worse about their chances to get to the Super Bowl. The reason why is there are more, I feel, this year, there are more teams who can stand in their way. Last year, getting into the postseason, I was only worried about one team standing in their way and going to the Super Bowl. It was just Buffalo. This year, I'm worried about Buffalo, Cincinnati, and the Chargers. And I know that, like, I'm worried that those teams could stop them from getting to their inevitable goal. I don't think the Chargers are going to the Super Bowl, but I do think that they could stop you from getting to where you're trying to go. Last year, I was only worried, and it ended up last year. There were two.
I was going to say, it's almost the same. We didn't know it at the time, yeah.
There were two. But it turns out there were two.
Buffalo and Cincinnati. Whereas this year, the good news is you're saying the Chargers. For this year, you could argue it's only one. You could actually argue only one team because you're not going to play Buffalo and Cincinnati. You're only going to play one of them. So in a way, it's really one team. Depending on what your feeling is on the Chargers, I think the Chargers can win their wild card. I don't see the Chargers rattling off 2 or 3 wins, and you can say, well, that's what we would have said about Cincinnati. I got more questions still. Basically, like Cincinnati, at least at that point, we already had seen, like, Jamar Chase looked unstoppable. Burrow was playing as good as any quarterback at the time. And by the way, those things are all still true right now.
Yeah.
But for the Chargers, I don't look at Herbert and think he's playing his best football of his young career.
He's not. Their defense is playing their best football, but he's not.
I don't look at Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and say, man, those guys are unstoppable. One's hurt right now, and I just don't think they're unstoppable. Their defense has played a lot better. So it's a little bit different. I actually would argue that heading in, it still is only one team, Buffalo or Cincinnati.
Which is, then why do you feel worse? They got a better record. They got a quarterback playing better, and only one team stands in their way. 15 seconds ago, you're like, I feel worse. Don't. Based on everything you just said, you should feel so much better. Because if that's all accurate, which it kind of is in its own right, it just depends on how much you believe or don't believe in Chargers' ability to beat Kansas City in one game.
In general, I don't think the gap, like last year, I still felt like there was a decent gap. Like the Chiefs,
between
to me,
them and the next
heading in the postseason, I thought last year the Chiefs were the best team.
This year, you're like, the Cincinnati, the Bills, and the Chiefs might all be the same.
People disagree with me, obviously, in Kansas City, but I think Cincinnati is the best team in football. I really do. Unfortunately for them, they got to go on the road.
Twice, if they're going to get there.
But I do think Cincinnati is the best team in football. I just do. And so if you're asking me still take the neutral site stuff out of it, like I would still rather play Buffalo than Cincinnati. Now, I want the home game, and that gets into the complicated scenarios, but Cincinnati is more dangerous than Buffalo. I understand both beat them this year. Both beat the Chiefs, that is, this year. But no Von Miller is a big loss for Buffalo.
Well, he was a huge determining factor in that
game
against Kansas City. They're not playing anywhere close to their best football now. And Cincinnati probably is. Cincinnati has been playing their best football for what, like 7 weeks? They've been playing really good. I mean, I get it. It's always an outsider's perspective because they got some close wins in there too. And then when we talk about close wins with Kansas City, we never want to give them any credit for what they've been doing. Both teams have had an advantage. Kansas City has won out because, one, they're better than most teams. And honestly, they haven't faced a murderer's row in the second half of their schedule. All 3 of these teams have been tested. The Bills, the Bengals, and the Chiefs all have top 11 end-of-year strength of schedule finishes. The Chiefs are actually dead last in that at 11. That's why I had to draw it out to that number. So they all faced plenty, and that largely goes back to the AFC.
Broncos twice, Raiders during that stretch, and you got to play the Titans and the Rams.
It's hard because the AFC is so deep. You'd be like, there's got to be an upset in there, right? There's got to be an upset. Where's it coming? Where's the upset? But if any of the teams, Chiefs, Bengals, or Bills, make the Super Bowl, none of us are going to think of that as an upset. All 3 of those teams are plenty good enough to beat each other. The upset would be the Chargers. That's why they just stick in there. Where I'm like,
if the Jags beat the Chargers and the Jags came into Arrowhead in divisional round weekend and beat the Chiefs.
But I'm just saying, but I feel like, to me, that's less likely. Same. It's not that the Jacksonville can't win a game against the Chargers. It's just I feel like, in my brain, I'm having a hard time thinking that if the Chiefs get upset in the postseason in the divisional round, that it's Jacksonville that does it.
Yeah, the only upset, and it's a small one that I think people will predict, will be the Jags over the Chargers. I think that'll be the AFC upset of the postseason. And it's a small one.
It's the only one.
It's like a 1.5 point line right now between those 2 teams as far as the Vegas line.
You can go anywhere you want in the NFC. You can choose the Giants to win. You can choose the Bucs to win. You can choose – it's your bevy.
Yeah. The only one that I feel confident, like 100% that's not losing this weekend – San Francisco's not losing to Seattle, right? That's the one.
That's probably the only one I feel really good about.
I mean, I guess
I put it at a 10% chance or something.
Somebody might say Skylar Thompson's not going into Buffalo and beating Josh Allen. And that's understandable. Yeah.
If you're talking both sides, that's the game I'm the most confident in. That line's moved to like 13.5 or 14 points now that Tua is out. It's that game's over. I know, like someone on the text on said, you better not come to Mitchell Schwartz. He doesn't agree with the notion that like the Bills get a bye. Obviously, I'm being a bit over the top. I understand they still have to play a game and practice and travel and put wear on their bodies, but I'm just saying for first round matchups, they ain't losing it.
Thinking of comparing last year to this year, last year heading into the postseason, we were starting to get excited about Jerick McKinnon on a much smaller scale, but there was excitement.
Because he was starting to play good.
I remember we were going through and talking about potentially who could be a key piece and this kind of this secret weapon, if you will. Jerick McKinnon's name came up last year, and it didn't happen for him in the postseason. This year, we've seen it for 6 or 7 weeks at least, and he's been as good as anybody in football in the red zone in the last month and a half. So I have way more faith that he's going to be part of the equation than I did last year. Last year we were all like hoping it was really like one game sample size, and we're like, wow, here we go. We've seen that wow for 6 or 7 weeks now.
At this point, he is a player we are counting on in the playoffs to win them a game. The way you put it before the season started. Of the 3 potential playoff games they could play in, it's the same thing. Like, if they're going to win the Super Bowl, I'm assuming Jerick McKinnon's going to have his Damian Williams game, right? Maybe not quite that big. His version of it, if that makes sense. They're going to count on him big in the moments. He is currently, of all guys, which I don't think you would have expected, he's currently their biggest red zone threat. Like, Travis Kelce and he pretty much have the same number of touchdowns this year, except for Travis Kelce had 1 4-touchdown game, right? In the collective other 16 games, those guys are equally targeted and thrown to in the red zone and turn up with a pretty similar number of touchdowns. So to me, there's, we have to count on Jerick McKinnon. I can't believe he's come to a feature in this offense. It's wild. Like, to the point that in the offseason, we're going to have to talk about what the offense looks like without Jerick McKinnon. Now, I still think that if you had a guy like McCole or some of these other things and you were working your red zone offense differently, maybe things would look different. But Jerick McKinnon, as we said, is the 3rd most important offensive player for you all of a sudden. He's more important than Juju Smith-Schuster.
What's wild,
he scores.
What's wild about it is whether you look at inside the red zone or if you want to go even farther to inside the 10-yard line, Kelce and McKinnon are number 1 and number 2 in touchdowns. In the red zone, Kelce has 10 touchdowns this year. That's 1st in the NFL. Jerick McKinnon has 7. That's 2nd in the NFL.
Yes. I mean, it's crazy. For much of the season, it was just about, hey, man, Jerick McKinnon is the best pass-blocking running back in football, which he still is, and he was so vital in that role all year as the 3rd down back.
And we're like, it's nice that he can block. That sounds...
And now it's, of course, the blocking is still there, but he is a huge weapon in the passing game.
What's so funny about it is that last year, this was kind of shocking. I think we talked about it before the season, but the Chiefs' biggest red zone threat...
McCole.
No, it was Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
It was Tyreek, and we kind of looked at those numbers, and we thought, really? We figured it would have been Travis Kelce, but it was Tyreek Hill. He led the team in targets, led the team in touchdowns and catches, and we wondered how they would replace it. Travis Kelce was the obvious answer. I don't think anybody was like, you know what? You know who would be really useful down near the goal line?
Shockingly, McCole Hardman was
McKinnon.
second on that team. Kelce was 3rd last year.
Could you imagine, Nick, you're right. Could you imagine in August, I'm like, yes, like, who do you think's going to step up? And I said, Jerick McKinnon.
Shut up.
I would have been like, oh my God, why are we even doing? I would have been so mad at you at training camp if you had been like sitting out there on some hot-ass August day and we're having this conversation. You're like, Jerick McKinnon's my red zone guy. I'd be like, Alex, we're trying to have a serious conversation. Like, you could have said Juju Smith-Schuster. Yeah. You could have said MVS. You could have said McCole Hardman or Clyde. And you're coming onto this show and you're going to try to tell me Jerick McKinnon is the 2nd most important red zone target for the Chiefs.
We all would have thought whoever said it was nuts at the time. And that's a credit to Jerick McKinnon and Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, this offense evolving and adding him, because that was like that. I don't believe for a second that was ever part of their plan either. So.
I just want to add that even with all the time that McCole Hardman missed this year, he still finished the regular season 6th in the NFL in touchdowns inside the 10-yard line.
That
makes
him
no
there.
sense.
But so when you were mentioning the Tyreek Hill stat,
he missed half a season.
McCole Hardman was a key feature piece of their inside the 10 red zone offense last season too. That's what makes the Jerick McKinnon emergence so important. It's also what's going to make it, I don't know, is it going to make it impossible for teams? Like, we know that they are effective and they are good at game planning, a way to get McCole Hardman away to touch the ball to score a touchdown inside the 10. And now we know that they're great at doing that with Jerick McKinnon, and we've always known that they're great at doing that with Travis Kelce. Like, before you even include another player on the field, what is the good strategy for eliminating all three of those players inside the 10? I mean, I know this all goes back to the whole point of this conversation when they let go of Tyreek Hill. It's like, well, they're going to have to do it with like 8 guys instead of 1, right? Not one guy's going to dominate. They're just going to have to give it to everyone. It's just wild to me that in the end, those guys, McCole Hardman and Jerick McKinnon, and I mean, does that mean they just make anyone work, or is it just like Jerick McKinnon's special? He's a 30-year-old running back they signed for $1.25 million this offseason.
To blow up the way he has, obviously, he gets a ton of credit for that. To your point about like the scheme and all that, I mean, there is to a certain extent when you have Patrick Mahomes and when you have Andy Reid run on the show, it's amazing how good they can make a lot of players look, right? I mean, we talk, some of the great quarterbacks have done this throughout their
some of the great coaches.
Look at Belichick and Brady and how many different wide receivers that they got paid elsewhere because of what they did on a somewhat small scale in New England. But then somebody else said, "Hey, we'll go pay you big time money." And the same thing when you're talking about the greatest coaches and the best quarterback, you can make. And this is not a shot at McKinnon because again, you don't blow up this way without you doing something right as well, and he certainly has.
And part of the doing something right for him is just being healthy.
True.
Being on
but
the
I
field.
think, I mean, look at that touchdown McKinnon had on Saturday. You know, Mahomes, and they have to acknowledge the run threat for Mahomes there.
Yeah.
And McKinnon is smart enough, and McKinnon stops. That's the relationship they have. But like, it's a shovel. You know, it's just a shovel. It's a shovel pass. But them being on the same page, and the fact that we've seen that play out time and time again, is why if you're a defensive coordinator, I don't know how the hell you match up in the red zone against the Chiefs. As long as the Chiefs, like, we always know there's that fine line of like being creative and being cute. When it works, it's creative. When it doesn't, we always say it's too cute. It's always funny in the NFL.
Like postseason time is when I'm just like, just use your best ones. The ones that you did in the middle of the season that got like -2 inside the 10, maybe not that one. Or any iteration of that one. Do a different one.
NFL playoff coverage brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views. Up next, we'll head to the sideline and talk with Chief sideline reporter Josh Klingler. We'll ask him about Jerick McKinnon and what he thinks is going to happen this weekend in the NFL.
You're listening to Cody and Gold, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Subscribe and download all new episodes of Nick's Wavin' in the Wheat podcast, released every Thursday on the 435 Podcast Network and the Odyssey app.
NFL Wildcard Weekend is here, and the easiest way to get into the playoffs is with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers join today to get started with $150 in free bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up with promo code 610BOB. FanDuel has all your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props. Plus, you can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So, football fans, don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with promo code 610BOB. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of 610 Sports Radio and the NFL. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued non-withdrawable free bets expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Well, you know what they say. Less is more. Unless they're talking about Lucas Wine and Spirits Superstore. At Lucas, more is less. With the largest selection for 500 miles, Lucas sells as much beer, wine, and spirits in a week as some stores sell in a year. That's how Lucas can sell it all for less. Much less. Come choose from literally thousands of craft beers, hard-to-find wines, craft whiskeys, and exotic spirits. Explore it all with expert help in person or explore online at lucaskc.com, where that incredible selection is all available to order for curbside pickup. And if you live in Missouri, they can even deliver it right to your door. Lucas Wine and Spirits Superstore. In the Northland, just west of Liberty and 152 in Flintlock. In Overland Park, near 119th and Metcalf. And in South KC at 135th and State Line.
Lucas Wine and Spirits Superstore, in a glass by itself.
With inflation on the rise, you may be charging more to your credit card. But be careful. That increased debt can cause your credit score to suffer.
Don't get stuck with a low credit score and a mountain of high-interest credit card debt. Call Golden Oak Lending now.
Refinance with our low rates to wipe out your high-interest credit card debt and put extra cash in your pocket. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Let Twin Peaks help you turn up the heat with a bowl of brisket chili or green chili chicken soup to celebrate National Soup Month. So swing by your favorite lodge and enjoy some brisket chili or green chili chicken soup. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
The NFL playoffs are here, and the easiest way to get into the action is with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. New customers get started with $150 in free bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up with promo code WIN. FanDuel has all your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props, all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Place your first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets. Win or lose with promo code WIN. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 plus in select states. Must be present in select states to wager first online real money wager only. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbookfanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. For Colorado, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia, West Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 Wyoming, Kansas or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. 1-877-770-STOP Louisiana. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. 467-369 in New York. TN Redline 1-800-889-9789 in Tennessee.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advanced can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $38.99. Go farther with better fuel efficiency. Get the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
When temperatures drop, COVID-19 cases may rise. So, if you test positive and are at high risk, act fast, even if your symptoms feel mild. Ask your provider if an authorized oral treatment could be right for you. Visit treatcovid19.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
NFL playoff coverage on 610 Sports Radio is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Back here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Nick Schwartz with you. Real quick, I saw this come out from Caesars Sportsbook. I only bring it up because it involves a Kansas bettor. A Kansas bettor just dropped $100,000 on a playoff game this weekend, the 49ers and Seahawks game. The Niners are 9.5-point favorites. This bettor bought roughly 14.5 points to get it to the Niners plus 4.5. That means it's now minus 1,200. $100,000 to win $8,300. Spoiler, it's a dumb bet, by the way.
I don't think you need the $8,300 that bad if you have $100,000 to wager on that.
That's just nuts. And it's someone here, somebody in Kansas hopped on the Caesars app, wired over some money.
Nick, was it you?
$100K.
Yeah, but it was me on behalf of Carrington.
Yeah.
Carrington said he needed Kansas better, so I offered to do it for him.
That's very nice.
That's
Since
very
Gold
true.
won't do it for me anymore.
Think about it, there's someone somewhere that in their group chat, I'm sure, asked a buddy, hey, can you make the bet? I'll Venmo you $100K. Yeah, I don't think it works that way, but that's exactly the same
if someone
thing.
Venmoed me $100K, I guess I'd make the bet.
I think it's like a $500 a day or $5,000 a week limit or something on Venmo, something like that. Anyway, let's talk some Chiefs football with Josh Klingler, who, I don't know, Kling, you were fast asleep at this point, but I don't know if Carrington tried to reach out to you to make a wager when KU last night was 7-1. He was very upset with me for not seeing his text in our group chat.
But there is a point in time where I do mute the group chat.
Yeah, as you should. So do I. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
It was, I think, about 14 discussions deep into where do you think the Chiefs will play in the AFC Championship game.
It wasn't the Magic City Wing discussion. That's the thing. If it goes to Atlanta, Magic City Wings.
I guess so. That's the thing.
I'll be honest, Kling. Anytime I open that group chat and there are 40-plus messages, I don't read any of it. I just clear it and move on with my life.
Yeah.
So if you want something from me and it feels like the group chat's been going for a while and I haven't talked, assume I will have seen none of it.
Yeah, that's safe. That's a safe play.
You were in Las Vegas this past weekend, and we know that was, and I guess still technically is a potential site for the neutral site game if we actually get there. I know Fesco was saying that he's hearing it's going to be Atlanta. Where were you hoping it was going to be, or you still hope it was going to be?
I like Nashville, so it'd be the city aspect of it. I know the stadium's not everybody's favorite, and I haven't seen anything of what they have going on. They always have 8 million events going on, and they have tons of hotel space. So that one seemed like a pretty good one to me. Titans out, so that one wasn't bad. I do appreciate the, I don't know if it's infighting or pettiness or however you want to describe it, of the well, we don't want to go there. Well, we don't want to go there.
Right.
So I do appreciate that aspect if that's going back and forth in quote unquote negotiations. But all told, I'm just really, I guess, disappointed. I just don't like that this is going to open the door for the league to do this in the future. I love the AFC and NFC championship games being on a home field, and I don't think that that's going to be long for this once they see it, in action. It's if they see it in action, and it's going to be a success. You have the two perfect fan bases to try this out as a test balloon, and then the league's going to move towards conference championship games that are played at neutral sites, and we'll have the college, basically the college format, 2 semifinals and a final game at neutral sites. I just don't want to open the door for that. I think what the NFL does is pretty cool. I wish, I hope it's not. I believe it's something they're looking at moving forward. It's just they're going to maybe have the opportunity for a sneak peek this season.
I still feel like it's maybe not conspiracy theorists, but I feel like that's like thinking the NFL a little too few steps ahead, because I don't think that they ever really wanted to even do this, Kling. Like, I don't think they ever wanted to get to the point where they had to do this. They just didn't know how to do this in the effort of fairness, which is why the site is so interesting. I don't think you can change all of this, do all of this, and then stick that game in Cleveland 3 hours from Buffalo. You ruin the entire illusion of doing it under the guise of neutral site.
Yeah. Now, do I think that they have discussed this at some point in time? Probably. And are they getting a
free preview? Yeah.
Yeah, they're getting an example of it that was.
I think we lost connection there with Kling. My feeling on the neutral side. I mean, that's what I said last week. I'm 100% with Kling. That is a concern. I don't think it's happening next year, but a concern of mine would be that for sure there's a financial revenue stream to potentially add of neutral site games. They got Thursday night games every night of the week now, or every week, I should say.
It's not going to be all that neutral, man. You put 3 different neutral site games every year. You're going to run into someone essentially playing 1 hour from their home, 2 hours from their home, at home.
But at least if you knew, here's the reason why it's different then versus now doing it 3 hours when you know it's Buffalo. If we knew in 2028, let's just say hypothetically, Cody, in 2028, the AFC title game is going to be in Indianapolis, and you knew you knew 5 years in advance, people wouldn't be as upset about it being so close. Like it'd be, they didn't know it was Buffalo and Kansas City.
Yeah, but it
Whereas
still
now,
sucks when it works out that way.
Sure,
You know?
but now they have an opportunity to avoid putting it 3 hours away from Buffalo if they want.
Yeah, the funny part about this, by the way, there's an article over The Athletic, by the way, that says Lamar Hunt used to like the idea of neutral site games.
Kling's back with us.
Lamar Hunt liked it. How could you be against it? How dare you?
Yeah, I know. I guess that means the Chiefs like it, and they've liked, they've kind of been, pretty steadfast on, Lamar Hunt's visions and what have you. So yeah, maybe it's in trouble. Maybe it's in trouble just because of that. But I just love the atmospheres that you're going to create. Not that you can't create a good neutral site, but I just think the NFL's done it so cool. You got the Super Bowl as that neutral site one. I just wouldn't mess with the conference championship games, and I'm disappointed about that whole thing. Got to get there first. I get it, and there was no perfect answer. I get that as well. If you could assure me that this was a one-off, I'd be much more receptive to it. But I don't believe it is.
When you're looking at the games this weekend, Kling, are we at the point now because of the quarterback injuries that no upset is even likely kind of out of the AFC? It feels like we're going chalk. Like the Jags and Chargers are a toss-up game anyway, and then it's going to be Bills-Cincinnati in the divisional round.
Yeah, how could it not be, right? No Tua, probably no Lamar.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's it, right? The NFC is going to have to give us the upsets.
I mean, do you call Chargers over Jags an upset?
I don't. Not one way or the other. I mean, not that it matters. The line is 1.5 points. But to me, they both won their division. They both are playing good football in their own ways. Neither of those teams are dominant. To me, that's like a pretty normal 4-5 seed, even matchup playoff game.
At least according to seed, it might be an upset, but I like the Chargers coming out of that one, and I think the Chiefs face the Chargers. Bills and Bengals will do battle.
We're talking to Josh Klingler, of course, Chiefs sideline reporter for the Chiefs Radio Network. You hear him on Fesco in the morning as well. This team, this go-around, the Chiefs heading into the postseason, we were just discussing, does it feel better or worse for you about this team heading in than it did even this time a year ago, considering who they are as a team, but also what we just discussed, which is the potential path of Buffalo and Cincinnati, but only having to play one of them this go-around?
Well, I think the last game probably helped a little bit. I would have loved to see them play if they had really kind of flexed their muscle down the stretch and showcased themselves a little bit more over the last 4 games and had a bunch of convincing victories. I think we'd all feel a lot better going into the postseason. I think the last game helped, and I think the team needed it too to see that kind of full complementary game. But also, I do believe that the gap is closed. This particular team plays very close games, and so to think that, again, we are all jumping ahead, right, to the neutral site thing. But I think that first game will be a tough one. If it's the Chargers, we've seen them play the Chiefs tough twice. Bosa's back, although, nicked a little bit maybe from the other day, but he's going to be back. That's a tough matchup. It's not a walk in the park. So I think the gap is closed a little bit. But also we've seen the Chiefs just play teams a lot closer than maybe we're accustomed to. And then, the Bills, if your road is Chargers and Bills or Chargers and Bengals, I mean, you're facing 2 really good teams. I mean, there's no kind of throwaway there. So it's not going to be an easy road. Do I feel better or worse than a season ago? I don't know. Maybe a tad bit worse because I don't like turning the football over like they have at times. I think the defensive creation of turnovers maybe has picked up a little steam here down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
We all worry about special teams still, despite a clean game the other day. And so maybe a few more kind of smaller worries. And then I do believe in, the teams that they have to face. Again, the Chargers, I was hoping we wouldn't even be dealing with them in the postseason, right? How they held that thing together, and they play the Chiefs well, and they know each other well, and that one would pose a very difficult, opening round game.
When you look at Patrick Mahomes going into this postseason, part of the reason I feel better is because their quarterback's playing at an MVP level, so that makes it easier to just have more confidence in the team. But I felt like going into the postseason, Kling, we're like, can he check it down? Can he check it down? Can he check it down? And in the important moment, the Bengals kind of laughed at him. They said, we're going to drop 8. We knew he'd get impatient, and Mahomes had the worst half of his NFL career. Going into this year, is there even a knock you can give on Mahomes? Because at this point, other than saying, oh, he throws some interceptions, no more than Burrow and no more than Allen, then what are you picking on Patrick Mahomes' game?
That the Bengals maybe have the kryptonite? That'd be it, right? I mean, the Bengals have seemingly figured them out a couple of times defensively and really frustrated what they're trying to do. If you get that matchup, maybe we're talking about a defense that has done maybe one of the better jobs against him. I think where you can feel good about it, good, bad, I think a lot of the things that they have gotten into have been self-inflicted. And you say, clean that up. Don't help any other teams out, and nobody can beat you. Nobody can be close to you if you don't, let them into ball games. And so I'm not saying be conservative or what have you, but just stay away from those key. Don't try for extra yards on a kick or a punt return, right? Don't force it into the end zone when you could kick a field goal if the play's not there. Those types of things, just kind of eliminate those, and you feel like, yeah, your teams are still going to have to come and beat you, which is not an easy task.
Lastly, Kling, we saw the report out of Arizona. Not only are they moving on from Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim, their general manager, but they perhaps are going to be shopping and trading Deandre Hopkins, who has 2 years left on his current deal, but to go along with that, he wants a new deal, it seems. Any interest? Because for me, once it requires a new deal, I'm out.
Yeah, I think you'd even have to kind of squint to keep the existing deal. He's making quite a bit of money. Close to $20 million, I think, 19.5 or something next year.
$30 million cap hit next year.
And a $30 million cap hit. Like, you'd really have to probably do some maneuvering to do that, let alone if it's true that he wants a new deal, and he wants a new deal past the age of 30 too. So I think we saw this past offseason, they're not in that ballpark, and they're willing to make it work. And so I kind of am too, that they're – You go younger and cheaper at that spot. You got Patrick Mahomes, and he can become an MVP with maybe quote unquote lesser things. So yeah, I'm out of the D hop. I think Arizona also has to move on from that grass field. So hopefully, when the Chiefs are back there for the Super Bowl, they have also moved on from that terrible turf we saw in Week 1 that hasn't gotten any better. So
it's become way too big of a story in the NFL this year, Kling. How many fields are garbage?
It really has. And I'll continue to pat the back of the Chiefs staff, Travis Hogan and the crew out there. The field theirs look terrific, I thought, all season long. And I've seen a lot of grass fields around the NFL that have been absolute garbage last week in Vegas included. So I don't know what the deal is, but I guess the Chiefs people need to be the ones spearheading the standards for around the NFL. I hope it's better in Arizona, because we couldn't believe it in Week 1 how bad it was. And there hasn't been any. Unless you guys have seen it, like any massive stories like how they've completely revamped the grass, I can't believe that was a Super Bowl surface unless they completely I think scrap the thing.
Look, you've been to 2 Super Bowls and you've seen the destination. My understanding is unless it's already a turf surface, Super Bowl, they bring in an entirely new playing surface before the Super Bowl. So I think whatever issue Arizona had, they might have issues with that one too, but it's not going to be the identical one. If Kansas City can figure it out in a cold weather city, how on earth Arizona and Las Vegas can't figure it out?
It's crazy.
Makes no sense. So, Kling, appreciate it, man. Enjoy the bye week. A rare little week off for you.
I'm gonna be like everybody else. I'm just gonna sit on the couch and watch some football and love every minute of it.
No question. There you go. Josh Klingler will be listening tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. of course on Fesco in the morning, and then next weekend, whether it's Sunday or Saturday, at Arrowhead against the Chargers, Jags, whoever.
Pretty sure that Sunday night game is Cincinnati and Buffalo.
Most likely, yeah. I think that's a fair guess, yeah.
That'll be weird, because if the Chiefs win their matchup against the Chargers or the Jags, most likely, then we'll just be waiting around to find out if they're going to be at home or if they'll be at a neutral site.
True.
Against. They'll just be sitting around on the couch, because just think about the way it works. We all knew which game was going to be Monday Night Football. It's logical. The NFL follows a pretty logical line. Maybe a surprise or two, but if Cincinnati and Buffalo are playing each other in the next round of the playoffs, they're going to be the biggest feature game of that round.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Nick. And over in the text line, 913-586-7610. Of course, the random question today brought to you by the window source of Kansas City. Today it was announced the games that will be played in the Pro Bowl weekend. My question today for you is, which one is your favorite? So here's what you got. You got dodgeball. 5-player teams of AFC and NFC going off in a multi-round tournament. There is longest drive. That's like golf. Longest drive. There'll be EA Sport. There's precision passing. So we've seen that one before, right? Put the little die on the back end of the football and figure out which way it's going to go. There's kick-tack-toe, which, as you can imagine, is just tic-tac-toe, but with kickers. Best catch, which is going to be a little bit difficult. They're going to perform it's like they're trying to go dunk contest, if that makes sense. Celebrity judge panels, rank it out of 10, try to make a spectacular catch, and go by that. There's also relay races, and then side-by-side weighted walled competition. Kind of view it as like a tug-of-war situation. It's field day, all right?
Yeah.
It's elementary school field. This is much better than the Pro Bowl
days
game.
are awesome.
The game.
Yes, field days are awesome.
The game.
You get the big rainbow tarp thing.
That does not seem to be included, although it should.
Parachute.
There's also 7-on-7 flag football, by the way.
Yeah, so look, the game has been a joke for a while. And we all, I think, at one point, I speak for all of us, when they used to play on the beach and do some of these type of things, that was awesome. That was fun. This at least is something fresh and new. I'm sure there will be complaints about it as well. But yeah, to answer your question, Cody, though, the lightning round one, where it's going to have 16 players doing the water balloon toss, catching punts from the jug machine, thrill of the spill, where each conference will throw targets at a bucket above the head of an opposing team.
This is true field day. That's field day
have a
stuff.
bucket above the head of a coach. Like, yeah, that'll be fun. That's fun. And look, you're all also you're in a better mood if you know. Like, we're all gonna love the Pro Bowl if the Chiefs are getting ready to play in the Super Bowl. We're gonna think it's the best Pro Bowl ever. The Chiefs players aren't in it. The next week you're going to the Super Bowl.
Mahomes not dunking Andy
versus
Reid. Yeah,
losing in an AFC title game maybe to Buffalo or Cincinnati maybe, and then you're like, well, the Pro Bowl. You see Mahomes out there, and we're all sad, and yeah, that'll suck.
But still be better than the regular dumb game. This is so much better.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I said this last year, and it's not even me trying to be I'm too cool for. I don't think I have watched a single second of the Pro Bowl since
childhood.
Yeah.
I've watched very little, almost none.
I usually just forget it's even on. It's not like I make a conscious decision not to watch it. I just I'm not in front of my TV or I forget it's on. It's just it's not on my radar. I don't think there's anything they could do. And that's just it. Go ahead and try whatever you want because you're never going to get people to watch this thing. You're never going to turn this into an event. Like the idea that there is any chance of them saving the Pro Bowl, it's just not ever going to happen.
No, but I'll watch oddity on the background, right? Like the dunk contest, I don't tune into it every year. But if I'm at home and it's on, all right, fine. Like if I'm at home and the best catch is going on and I got the TV muted while I'm playing with the kids for a minute, I'll watch to find out if DK Metcalf can reach back behind his head and try to do something like between his legs to catch him. I'll watch that, right? I'm much more likely to watch that than is what is essentially just guys going through a light practice. I'm just going to jog in because that's all the Pro Bowl game had turned into. Matter of fact, I think they're more likely to try hard in 7-on-7 flag football because then at least you're like, oh my God, I can't believe he still got around that guy, right? There's more possibility. I'm interested in best catch. I'm curious to find out if they can make anything out of that. Yeah. Because we know why the dunk contest works. Is there a way to catch a football interestingly enough that makes me tuned in?
Didn't they do something like that last year? Wasn't there some sort of weird skill thing with like Stephon Diggs and Trayvon Diggs? Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did do that, right? Because that was the joke, was that both the Diggs brothers were in it.
I want to find out whether or not they can make that interesting enough to be there. You're probably right. The lightning round one is the most ridiculous grouping of settings that just kind of creates this. And the dodgeball one always makes me think of that time Alex Smith just dirted one in a dodgeball game in which he's an NFL quarterback. But the rest of them I'm kind of intrigued by.
Yeah, because they've definitely done the dodgeball thing before. We've seen that happen.
Longest drive didn't do much for me. Like, I get that all these guys golf, but I don't know. Do I really care how hard they can hit a golf ball?
I'd rather see quarterbacks just try to throw it the furthest than actually.
Why don't they just do a big match thing like they did with Mahomes and Brady and Rodgers?
Oh, like one of the days they just mic up a bunch of NFL players. That would be fun.
Just have a bunch of 4-man scrambles. I mean, who cares? Nobody's going to watch it anyway.
The one thing, and I'm sure it's for an injury reason, the one thing I never understand.
Still in Hawaii or no?
They're doing it on this year's Pro Bowl site, which is
Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? By the way, that might also be why they can't do it. They don't games back. I mean, I know they could do it, but
the Pro Bowl might cause a problem. Yeah,
I don't know how much prep they have.
Well, and
to
if
do,
anything, everything will be kind of in place somewhat. But when you the one thing I don't understand that they haven't included at this point, and it might be injury, is why aren't we doing the 20 fastest players in heats of 5 for a 40-yard dash? determining a winner.
This goes back to the injury.
I don't
this
understand.
Goes back to the injury stuff, I think.
That's.
Honestly.
I mean, isn't that what you want to see?
It's the
them
injury.
just running
it's the injury stuff.
I'm going to be honest, man. I don't know how else to make this more clear. I don't want to see any of it.
What's your favorite one? That was the question.
The golf. Just have them play golf.
Cody, I'm with you. It's probably just
completely
the injury
do
risk.
nothing football related. Have them do a talent show. Like, I don't care. Because anytime you try to do
they're
something...
like spin batons?
Or comedy. It could be like a hidden talent, juggling, I don't know, karate. What if there's a guy in the league that's
How do
like
you
a
do
black...
karate is a hidden talent?
Break boards and like fight ninjas and throw nunchucks. I don't know, man. I don't think you throw nunchucks, but you could.
I think you swing them.
Well, you
probably.
could throw the stars, throw the throwing stars.
Do you even know anything about karate? You're just saying.
Obviously not. Is that not apparent?
Just like throw nunchucks.
Fight ninjas, yes. Hire ninjas and then have them fight them off. Break boards. Break a cinder block with your head. I don't know. But that would be cool, wouldn't
Break
it?
a cinder block with your head. Not a piece of wood, a cinder block with your head.
I like NFL. We're worried about concussions. Come watch our offensive lineman break a cinder block with his head.
Hey, but you're interested, aren't you?
I mean, would I watch? Yes. Yes. If that's the only goal is watching, there's a lot of random stuff they could do if that was the only part we had to worry about and there wasn't anything else to go with it. I just, again, truly, hopefully the Chiefs don't even have anybody in this.
Truth or dare?
So. For them?
Yeah, they play truth or dare.
Sure, fine.
Spin the bottle.
You have a thing about spin the bottle. Nick brings that up a lot.
Nick, just out of curiosity, since Gold's right, you have brought it up a lot. Have you ever actually played spin the bottle?
Do you like it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I still do. Still do, actively.
That's interesting.
Is that what you're doing instead of coming to the beer release party on Friday night?
Yeah.
Spin the bottle with
Playing
friends.
all night. We play for hours and hours. Never gets old. Oh, yeah. How about food eating contests? Yeah. Somebody said here a pie eating contest. I think all sorts of food.
Between offensive linemen or just like everybody? You wanna see if
Anybody.
the skinny guy
You
can
know,
get
if
a shot
Josh
too?
Allen's like, you know what, I know how to put down tacos, then let him in.
I mean, I'd probably watch that. I'd be fine with that.
Just like stop trying to make it football related.
And that's what, I mean, they are kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I think that is exactly what they're trying to do to a certain
There's a
extent.
couple of football things like precision passing, but that can be interesting, right? Watching them try to like, I think it should just be all like
paintball.
Annie Oakley though. It should be like your teammate has to put a helmet on and put like a cup on the top of his head. He's got to try to knock it off like Varsity Blues. It's got to be that.
Annie Oakley.
It's got to all be like, there's got to be a risk for personal
most
harm.
dated reference ever, you know.
Leave it to Cody on the show to bring up a 1800s reference. Nice job. Nice job, man. Nice. Well done. Who knew Cody was such a Buffalo Bill fan?
Buffalo Bill Cody.
You're a Buffalo Bill fan.
You got to stand by Buffalo Bill Cody. You got to stand up for
Oh, dude,
fellow
have
Codys.
him play
true.
play drinking games. Someone said lineman
Like quarters? They're just we're just watching televised
cup.
quarters
beer
between.
pong, flip cup, chug off. Yeah.
Oh, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Josh Allen in that group doing.
Oh, David Bakhtiari would win the chug
I mean,
off.
Post Malone got that tattoo because Kelsey and Mahomes beat him in beer pong. So we got to assume they're very good.
This is true.
Because I assume Post Malone
Remember
plays
that
a
video
lot of beer pong.
of David Bakhtiari at the Bucks game a couple years ago? Just absolutely demolishing.
Speaking of the
beers.
Bucks, did you see the latest rumor about your guy Aaron Rodgers? After, of course, he's got his offseason
Whose guy?
for him.
My guy or his
it's,
guy?
It's definitely your guy, Aaron Rodgers.
Why is he my guy?
The ayahuasca
You guys share the
trip.
ayahuasca journeys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we know it's the offseason now for Aaron Rodgers. That I guess it was TMZ reporting that Aaron Rodgers is dating the Bucks owner.
Yeah, that's
Daughter.
been a rumor
That
for
would've
like
Bucks owner's
That would
daughter.
have been quite the story.
That's been a rumor for
the
2
daughter
or
of the Bucks
3.
owner, the heiress to the Bucks. How about that?
Yeah, that's been a rumor for like 2 or 3 seasons now.
But it's come out again.
Good for Aaron Rodgers. He's in the Derek Jeter phase of his career where he's only dating women like a decade younger than him. Good for him.
Is there a 10-year gap?
She's not.
How old's
She's not.
Rodgers?
She's like 36, isn't he? 37?
I mean, that sounds about
Yeah,
right.
he's right around there.
37, 38. He's about Cody's age, maybe a little younger. And I think
Mallory Edens or whatever is her name.
I want to say she's just based off the optics, she looks like she's like late 20s at most.
She is
23.
20. 20.
Are you kidding
No,
me?
she's 26.
That's still quite a gap.
She's 26.
Good for him, man.
This article, he says, Aaron Rodgers 39, Mallory Edens 26.
Be successful, get rich, get old, and then start dating women 12 years younger than you. That's the dream. For other guys, not for me. I'm happily Happily in a relationship.
You're about
He
to get
actually
married.
thinks that should be the Alex Gold plan going forward.
I'm pre-engaged.
Yeah, Nick is basically already engaged without the ring.
Think about that, Gold. Your future wife might still be in high school.
Oh my God! Don't put it like that.
Well, Aaron Rodgers could have said that 10 years ago.
That's not how we do this.
the way you put that at all.
That's not how we do this.
You're not going to start dating her for a while.
Gold's birthday is actually tomorrow.
It is on
which will
January
make
12th.
him 33?
32.
Sorry, aged by a year.
That's fine.
So but in this case, his future wife would be 20.
You will meet your
she
future
wouldn't be able
wife.
to legally be able to drink.
I'm saying he will meet his future wife in 6 years, at which point she will be 22. That's a less creepy way to say it.
You said that, not me, and it's still creepy.
That's a less creepy way to say it.
But you already
way less.
Yeah. Thank you for the random question of the day,
It's
Cody.
reverse ageism.
This actually one went less crazy than yesterday's.
Well, yes. Coming up next, though, every postseason there seems to be one player that steps up, maybe unexpectedly. Cody thinks he knows who has to be that one this year.
There's Kelsey to the end zone.
Cody and Gold brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
If you're someone that wears contacts or glasses, like I used to be, you've probably at some point thought about, and it'd be pretty nice not to have to look for my glasses in the morning, not to knock over the water on the nightstand searching for the glasses. I've definitely done that before. Maybe pack those contacts, remember to take out the contacts. All of that was part of my daily life until May of 2021. I can't believe it's almost been 2 years now. Pretty crazy to think about. I called DuraVision. I went in for my free consultation. I found out I was a candidate for SBK Advanced LASIK. 2 days later, I was having my procedure. The very next day, I was driving right back into work, and right now they have their friends and family offer, providing a savings of up to $1,000 on LASIK. This is for a limited time only. Think about this. It's typically reserved for family members of their surgery patients only, but now you can take advantage of it as well. Give DuraVision a call at 913-491-3330 or go online to DuraVision.com and tell them Gold from 610 sent you.
I'm Brad. I've been with Overhead Door Company of Kansas City for almost 20 years. What we see a lot of in the wintertime is customers sliding into their doors because of icy conditions in their driveway. So hit doors, broken springs, doors stuck to the ground due to ice, bottom rubber ripped off, things like that.
Cold weather wins every time, but we'll get you prepared. Overhead Door Company of Kansas City since 1927. OverheadDoorKC.com.
Spectrum Business is the no-nonsense way for small businesses to stay connected. Spectrum delivers the fastest internet speeds in the nation, and Spectrum Business Connect is the all-in-one app to make calls, host video conferences, and send texts from any device, anywhere. Get both and get one mobile line free for 1 year. No contracts, no hidden fees, no nonsense. Just business. Visit spectrum.com/business today. Restrictions apply. Services not available in all areas.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Bogey's Windy City Pub has it all. The food you crave, the sport you love, low happy hour prices, weekend brunch. Bogey's will have you coming back for more. Bogey's Windy City Pub, your neighborhood restaurant and sports bar, South Leawood. Bogey's WindyCityPub.com.
The NFL playoffs are here, and the easiest way to get into the action is with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. New customers get started with $150 in free bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up with promo code WIN. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Place your first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets. Win or lose with promo code WIN. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 plus in select states. Must be present in select states to wager. First online real money wager only. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbookfanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. For Colorado, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia, West Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342 in Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 Wyoming, Kansas, or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. 1-877-770-STOP Louisiana. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. 467-369 in New York. TN Redline 1-800-889-9789 in Tennessee.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking right side. He wants it. A comeback cut. It is caught by Kelsey. Touchdown, Kansas City.
Your official broadcast partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. 610 Sports Radio. KCSP Kansas City. WDAF HD2 Liberty. And Odyssey Station.
1 o'clock hour here. It's Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Nick Short with you. Don't forget, this Friday it is our playoff beer release party at Cinder Block Brewing in North Kansas City. Get them hang out there from 6 o'clock till, who knows?
Upside down question mark. It's like a kid's birthday party.
Who knows? 6 o'clock till, well, Dusty Likens, I think, will be broadcasting till at least 9. He's going to do his show, so that gives you an idea. At least, at bare minimum, 9 o'clock.
Gold, you and I were like the last 2 people to leave last year. Or amongst
we're pretty late. I had a good conversation with, so Barbara was there, and, oh, gosh, another former chief, just drew a blank, former safety, McGraw. John McGraw was there, right? John
McGraw?
Yeah,
John that's McGraw? Right. We were talking to John McGraw for a while.
Yeah, so we had a good time. It was great. Seriously, it was packed.
I was going to laugh at you. Like, I had a good conversation with Sean Barber. God, who's that other former chief? God, can't think of it. And he's like, Danon?
I figured it out. Yeah, McGraw.
John McGraw.
Anyway, but it was packed. We had a great time, and I hope to see you guys out there.
A lot of babes.
Fantastic
There were a
beer.
ton
all over the
babes.
place. Yeah. And that's why Nick's not
Is this
coming.
your way of encouraging people to go?
That's why Gold couldn't get out of there.
That's why Nick isn't showing up.
Wait, there was a group. There
HR.
was a table full of women that we were actively trying to get Gold.
I was
to
talking
talk
to him
to.
myself.
He was.
Yeah. You guys were staring and making it very awkward as I was sitting down with
You
this
were
table.
making it awkward. You didn't even make a move.
No,
you didn't even ask for a number.
All right, hold on. We can stop. Nick can attest to this. I think he can back me up. I was at the table. We went. I'm talking to Sean Barber and John McGraw.
You were talking to the men at the table more than the women.
No. Let me finish.
Let's hear him out.
Standing there, it's just Sean Barber, John McGraw, and myself. We're having a conversation. This guy actually comes over that was with a bunch of girls and says, "Hey, there's a couple of them over that some of you are cute." To this day, I have no idea which one they were talking about. So anyway, and so we all went. So we all went over to the table, and we sat there. So you're misleading.
And I believe you spent more time talking to McGraw than you did the women who were sitting at the table.
I was already talking to him and Sean Barber. They invited us over. McGraw was sitting next to this girl talking to her, and then there were other girls at the table and I was talking. So misleading. You're wrong on that one. I was there.
Nick?
I don't think you remember. You were a little too drunk.
Third party?
I
don't. A little too drunk. I don't remember being too drunk.
I don't remember the specifics. I remember
the part you were up to that point. I agree.
Same. I don't remember what we were saying about the situation. I do remember we were laughing.
Rob and Cody, you guys were all standing in the corner laughing like high school girls staring at us.
And then you came and you stood up, and we were like, "What the hell?"
Well, no, everybody left eventually.
Yeah.
I remember
without handing out phone
numbers. The
numbers.
way I remember it was exactly the way you remember it. They said one of you were cute. This was the backstory. You guys go over there, but there was a table and there were like 2 open seats.
Yeah.
And it was
John
like
McGraw's over there.
and it was like single woman, guy, single woman, guy, single woman, guy, gold, separating himself from the rest of the women. It seemed like you had.
How about this?
Put yourself separately.
On Friday, what we'll do.
Misleading.
We're not going to do this right now.
Slander.
On Friday, we will prepare you with some potential pickup lines that you can use if the opportunity presents itself.
Well, it's funny. This whole thing, quite the opposite. If anything, I was at the table with them versus last time I checked, all 4 of you guys were all in a circle, all as 5 guys talking to each other.
We are all
He's pre-engaged. I'm currently married.
Rob's girlfriend was there with him,
who he now lives with.
Yeah.
So I mean,
is that public knowledge?
Well,
it is now. It is now.
I think it was.
Nick would never live in sin. He's never even.
Yeah, Nick has brought this up until they're married.
I would never what?
Live in sin. You've never even stayed in the same place as your girlfriend.
Well, yeah. Whenever what's tough is that when we travel together, it's tough finding hotels that have 2 twin beds in the same room.
Yeah, in Germany, I bet that was a problem. Luckily, Germany had really 2 small twin beds.
Yeah.
You would never, Rob. Oh, who knows?
He's a sinner. That's okay. I mean, if you want to be damned to eternity in hell, then that's fine. Not me, though.
You're going to play by the book.
Yeah, man.
The good book.
Better believe the good book. That's right.
Friday night will be fun, as you can tell already. Who knows what the hell's going to happen? We'll see what other slander.
What time does
Cody
it start?
6 o'clock, right? Yeah, 6
o'clock.
Maybe I'll stop by. You know?
Wait a second.
Yeah.
What time's the party, you said?
I don't know.
Text line says, should Carrington get Cody set up and start the drive dating game? Oh,
I
Cody,
assume
are you is something happening that we don't know about? He said Cody on the 816.
I assume that's just a typo. That they would like me to help Carrington revive the dating game for you.
Trying to type Gold and Cody. There doesn't seem like you would accidentally type one over the other.
I know I'm very much committed for some time.
Happily, too.
With my wife. So.
Happily, right?
Yes, happily.
Yeah, just making
so
sure.
It's not like I haven't been in the market
Nick is over there.
20 years.
What if he would have been like, yeah, I'm committed to my wife. And happily, he's like, nope, I'm miserable.
Oh, man. Who knows what's going to happen Friday? Who knows?
Official,
Cody
by the
might
way.
make some Annie Oakley references, too. What's up?
Official, by the way. Lamar Jackson did miss another practice
not
today.
playing.
So
Is this a costume party on Friday?
No.
Would you like to dress like
Annie Oakley, Cody?
You know what we should do? Here's the only way I'll go.
He owes us one Nutcracker costume.
Here's the only way I'll go.
Oh, he does.
Here's the only
So we
way
can
I'll
make it
go.
a costume party.
Is if
get that outfit.
we all 3 of us dress up as the different character from Wizard of Oz. So I could be the Tin Man. No, Gold would be the Tin Man. I could be
uncomfortable as hell the whole night.
I'll be the Scarecrow. Cody can be the Cowardly Lion.
Why do I have to be the Cowardly Lion?
Do you want to be the Scarecrow?
No. That sounds worse.
You could be okay. Fine. You can be Dorothy. I think you do have the most feminine features of the 3 of us, so that would work.
Oh boy.
Why?
Oh,
Well, remember that picture I took of you where you looked like a Polish grandmother?
Yeah.
Well,
Try to deny it, but that was maybe the worst photo
that's
ever
the
taken
only
of
way
me.
you could get me to show up is if we all dress up as a different Wizard of Oz character. So chew
You
on that. for
providing the
next.
costumes? Nick, you got them? You have the whole cast?
Yeah, I do. I always keep them on hand. They're in my trunk.
Yeah, I figured.
One size fits all.
There you go. There you go. As the postseason is getting ready to get underway, there typically is the known commodities, right? The known players that you expect to step up in the postseason. You know that Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are going to step up. You hope for the first time sack-wise. It doesn't mean Chris Jones hasn't been a factor, but sack-wise, Chris Jones will finally get his first playoff sack. But there's always some names that you maybe don't expect going in, and names that even if you were to throw out there, you'd be like, okay, really? But you think there's one in particular that has to step up as well. That's not the how maybe as big of the obvious answer as some of the other ones I just mentioned.
I mean, I think we know that Chris Jones, we made a huge deal, and I think rightfully so. Chris Jones cannot go another postseason without a sack. We know that. But based on based on this simple fact, if I ask you the question, the single biggest free agent contract the Chiefs handed out this offseason is Justin Reid. Financially, it was. It just was. Maybe you could make an argument that Juju Smith-Schuster, his was a 1-year, $10 million deal. In what world is that a big free agent contract? Look, even in the Justin Reid one, there's a limitation. But there's been a common theme in the Chiefs' recent playoff success, and that is their safeties make big plays in a big moment that helps them win a game. Most of the time, that has been either Tyrann Mathieu or Dan Sorensen. And I know that comes with a sour feeling, but, I mean, remember that Dan Sorensen stopped that fake punt against Houston that eventually swung the tide, and multiple other moments in the postseason.
That Browns game, man, the fumble. I know Browns fans think it was helmet to helmet, but they got the fumble.
There's a lot of big moments for the safeties in this position. And honestly, as much as he might not be their third most important in the regular season this year, it was probably Snead and Bolton ahead of him, and maybe even Karlaftis, depending on the argument you want to make for pass rush. It's going to be on Reid. I think it's really important that Justin Reid has his moment for the Chiefs, because that's how he's going to get to stick here a while, or why this deal's going to work more. Because we can talk about, like, it obviously is not a bad signing, the money they gave Justin Reid. He's been a very good safety. His coverage skills have been very good. That's why they gave him the money. He's been worth mostly what they've paid him. But they paid him to be a leader, and I know that because that's how they pitched him. Since training camp till Monday. On Monday, they had three people speak to the media. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and then they chose a leader of the defense. They chose Justin Reid. To me, I think it's really important that Justin Reid has his defining playoff moment this year. If they're going to go on and win the Super Bowl, he's going to have to be a moment in one of these three games.
Yeah, I mean,
if they get three, if that makes sense.
I think so. Justin Reid, post-Cincinnati game, coverage-wise, has played his best football. If you look at some of the PFF metrics and all that, Justin Reid has been really, really good the last 4 weeks or so in coverage. And so he's just, to me, he's not going to be the guy that's going to make 3 interceptions on the road to the playoffs or on the road to the Super Bowl for Kansas City. But his coverage is there. He's in charge of getting everybody in the right spot. I think there's other players that probably are more likely to make the big, impactful play that's so noticeable. The forced fumble is more likely to come from L'Jarius Sneed or Nick Bolton than Justin Reid. Like the turnover forcing
I don't care
play.
Which form it is.
Yeah.
You know what? It could be a turnover goal, but I'll take a 4th down stop short of the sticks or a 3rd down sack, right? Because they do send him sometimes in those big packets. Hell, he had a sack against the Raiders, I think, or at least he was in on one of the pressures that eventually forced a stop. He has to have that kind of defining moment. Dan Sorensen got 5 of them for the Chiefs and 3 postseason runs. Frank Clark for when they first signed him, right? Every player they've pitched as being a vitally important member of their defensive staff has had that moment for the Chiefs in their big moments, except probably Chris Jones. And now this will be Justin Reid's first chance to do it. It's both of them, right? I'm bringing up Justin Reid because we all know Chris Jones has to get a sack. We can't keep talking about how every postseason is going to have 15.5 sacks in 2 different seasons and 0 sacks in those postseason runs. Like, he can't have 2 regular seasons with 15.5 sacks and just never show up. But we know that. We've put that aside for just a moment. Justin Reid has to do something big for this team in the postseason.
What order, if I were to ask you, other than the obvious, okay, Mahomes, Kelsey, Chris Jones, you're saying he's next in line? Because I actually think
he is.
I still think L'Jarius Sneed overall.
Yeah, how do you put him ahead of Sneed?
I think Sneed, just because Sneed is also so impactful in blitzing, right? And we know Justin Reid is impactful in the run game, but L'Jarius Sneed not only in coverage, but they're going to bring him on blitzes, so therefore he's going to, potentially lead to that pick for Juan Thornhill as much as anybody.
Look, Sneed probably needs that if he wants to get paid this offseason. The amount of money
at this
he might
point,
get
don't
paid.
you think he's getting paid anyway? I mean, even if he were to have a disappointing postseason,
I think you can add a couple million to it.
Fair.
Having a big postseason, you can tack a couple of extra million on it. Yes, he's going to get at least a Charvarius Ward type deal this offseason from someone, whether it be the Chiefs or some other team who's out there looking.
I don't know what the dollar amount. I think Sneed will be back next year for sure on a new deal. I know his deal's technically not up, right? He's technically has 1 more year, right? But they're going to get him a new deal, I would imagine. The Juan Thornhill's the interesting one, offseason conversations, but his deal's up. Do they trust Brian Cook being able to step right into that next year and not have to pay Juan Thornhill? We'll find out.
Would you guys say that Justin Reid has been a disappointment this year? Have you been disappointed?
I think he's been pretty much what they paid for. They didn't get more than they paid for, if that makes sense.
I think that's also fair.
I think the tough part is none of us thought this, but he was basically brought in to replace Tyrann Mathieu, who had his worst season as a Chief last year. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody was expecting him to be Tyrann Mathieu. It's just that
different type of safety,
you're
man.
following a guy who was one of the best free agent signings in Chiefs history.
But the reason why we discuss Tyrann Mathieu that way is because what he did in the postseason. Like, that's why Justin Reid can also be a part of that conversation. The problem for Justin Reid is, and the reason why Chiefs fans won't put him in that part of the conversation is he's a different safety, so you don't see him. Justin Reid's like a good corner. When we're not calling his name, he's doing his job really well. Like other safeties, right? They have their hands on the football when they're doing their good job. Justin Reid's been such a good cover safety this year. We don't mention him in an entire broadcast when his job is going well. That's not the kind of player Tyrann Mathieu was. Tyrann Mathieu was show-up guy. He was, wow, there's Tyrann Mathieu, right? I mean, there's just a difference in the style of play. And by the way, I never expected that. We had that conversation with Justin Reid. Justin Reid at no point in his NFL career has been the force-to-turn player. That is not he is. That's not who he's ever been, and he's not going to start being that. But he does a lot of things really well. It's hard, Nick, but if they win a Super Bowl with Justin Reid, how are we going to argue with that signing? And he's a part of it? Because he's going to be a part of a defense that played a lot better in the second half than in the first half this season. Again, by the way, for the third straight year under Steve Spagnuolo? Just a rotating clock. Play worse in the first half, play better in the second half, and then let's find out what happens in the postseason.
It's kind of been the MO, man. It really has. It's kind
Over panicking in the first 7 weeks of a season on the Chiefs defense is probably unnecessary. As long as it's Steve Spagnuolo as the defensive coordinator.
The future for a lot of teams in the NFL is already being decided because they're not in the postseason, whether it be coaching, whether it be conversations about who should be brought in or not. That's happening in Arizona right now, as a matter of fact. You know, the Cardinals have already moved on from Cliff Kingsbury, their general manager, Steve Keim, and there's a report from Jordan Schultz that they're going to be shopping around Deandre Hopkins, who has 2 years left on his deal. Now, next year's a $30 million cap hit, but to go along with it, reportedly he wants a new deal, and that's where automatically I'm out of it. I'm not signing D-Hop up for a new contract if I'm the Chiefs. Someone's going to do it. If I'm Chicago,
absolutely.
I got
100%.
Draft capital. I got a ton of cap space. He would be great. Justin Fields with Chase Claypool, DeAndre Hopkins, and I can go and still draft another playmaker. Makes all the sense in the world. I don't think the Chiefs need to do that, and certainly on a new deal, I don't need to see them go ahead and do that after a year where we saw them not give $30 million a year to Tyreek Hill. Now you want me to go trade draft assets to get a guy that will be 31 next year, who, probably still has another 2 years left.
People keep pointing out the Chiefs have 10 picks. That is misleading. They, once again, of the 10 picks they have, like 800 of them are in the 7th round again.
And look,
they have older picks. They have a first, a second, a third, I think 2 fourths, a fifth. Right? They have all the normal amount of picks, but they don't have an excess of picks.
Good news is thanks to the Dolphins cheating, or trying to cheat with their owner, there's actually only 31 first-round picks, meaning everybody moves up one spot. It's kind of nice, you know? When you win the Super Bowl, you're actually picking 31, not 32.
Is this more about the position, or is it about specifically the player? Is this because you don't?
So I like D-Hop.
I think he'll still be great. He'll probably be worth the money you pay based on the wide receiver price.
You just don't think the Chiefs need to spend that money on wide receivers.
Bingo. Yeah, I don't think D-Hop's like washed up or anything. No. But if you're the Chiefs, who, again, we just saw have their mindset on paying a player at the top of that position.
And they tried to pay Tyreek, but it worked not paying him.
Yeah, it worked. It worked, but again, let's find out what happens I would.
You'd be willing to I have no idea let's say it takes a second round pick. For the Chiefs, it's almost like a third, right? Because let's say it takes the Chiefs' second round pick and a deal that extends it out for 2 more years, and it's going to come in at an average of $31.5 million. You're willing to do that per year?
So you could get out after 3 years. You restructured the deal. He's got 2 years left, so you add a third one, which means basically you're keeping him through his age 33 season.
Yep.
I think, to your guys' point, I would have no concerns about, like, can this guy continue to produce? There's plenty. I mean, Travis Kelce's had 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons since turning 30. Like, guys get receivers, tight ends, they can produce well into their 30s. There's no concern there. To me, it's more about if Juju comes back and says, because he knows how weak the free agent market is at wide receiver, if he comes out and says, well, I'm young, I just had a nice season with the Chiefs, I want $24 million a year.
I think, by the way, he can get that.
I think
if
so,
he wants
too.
to leave.
And
if he wants to leave,
and
he
if
can
that's
get
the
that.
case, your options at that point would be, okay, free agency, there's really nobody to go out and get to come in and be a number one.
It's a terrible wide receiver
You'd
class.
have to hope that you can go out. You're going to draft it. If you lose Juju, no matter what, you're going out and you're drafting another wide receiver, I would assume, in the first 2 rounds like you did last year. I know that the Chiefs showed you they can have a really, really good offense, the best offense without a number one. I would still prefer to have
Supernova
a number one.
Well, of course. I mean, I would prefer
and I
to
think
have one as well,
at that dollar amount, if you're not paying it to Juju, and let's say you let Orlando Brown Jr. walk, which I feel like, not walk, but not
franchise
signing him.
tag. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
At that point, if you're really just talking about Snead, who's probably getting in the $15 million-ish range annually.
Yeah.
Chris Jones gets a contract extension, but you restructure that deal. We know that you can move money around, make it work. The Chiefs could make it work.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know that
they could have made Tyreek Hill.
I know.
Work too,
I don't know that I would hate it. I don't know that I would hate it given the wide receiver market.
I will say this: knowing who the Chiefs are bringing back at wide receiver next year, MVS, Kadarius Toney, Travis Kelce will still be on this team. Sky Moore. I would. Leading up to training camp, if they made this deal and they went for D-Hop, I would into training camp be like, well, this is going to be the Randy Moss year. Like, Mahomes is going to go scorched freaking earth because I've never.
we said that heading in. We say the scorched earth thing so damn often.
No, I know, but I just like
the earth is always scorched.
Fair enough. For Mahomes, it is. Yeah, for Mahomes, might as well.
Yeah, you know what? Honest, I don't think we've ever been wrong. So I would start talking myself into this is going to be the Randy Moss year because DeAndre Hopkins did have 800 yards receiving in 2 games this year or something. It was ridiculous.
9 games this year. Yeah.
Yeah, he was if he had just played a whole season for the Cardinals, which of course he didn't because he tested positive for PEDs, but. If he had played a whole season, with Kyler in a limited offensive system, he was looking like a 1,300, 1,400-yard wide receiver again.
I mean, this guy was and I think still has a great chance if he finishes his career strong to be a Hall of Fame receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
But do you think he can be grade age 30 to 33? That's what you're asking yourself.
It happens all the time.
And so some of the things you laid out talking about the wide receiver market and all this is true. And I know I gave you a hypothetical, so you were just basing it off of that. But if all that's true, and then are we sure that the asking price isn't going to be more? Are we sure his asking price isn't going to be more?
Because there is nobody available in the free agent market.
We're acting like, well, this is why the Chiefs should do it. There's 31 other teams that are going to be very interested in DeAndre Hopkins. And I don't think the Chiefs should be getting in any sort of bidding war for draft pick compensation for DeAndre Hopkins.
I would wonder, too, with everything, that not just the lack of success that Arizona had, but we saw some of the in-season hard knock stuff with Kyler Murray being a kind of a child and him being a leader and being like, what the hell is this?
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't shock me if let's just throw out a random team, right? Chicago, they got a ton of money. They need wide receiver help. I'm not DeAndre Hopkins. He has a no-trade clause, right? So he basically can decide where he wants to go. I'm not sure I'm signing up to go play with Justin Fields in Chicago. If hypothetically, the Chiefs would be interested. If I'm DeAndre Hopkins, I'm saying, okay, I got what? One more big-time contract left in me? I want to go win a ring. All I've done since I got into the league is put up numbers on terrible teams. I wouldn't mind going and competing on a good team for once.
The conversation we had yesterday with Brett Veach, the 2 drafts he's had in a row, the one thing, because the text line is, we need more defense, or are they in trouble cap space? No, the back-to-back drafts Brett Veach has had kind of does mean this offseason the Chiefs can choose to prioritize whatever the hell they want.
And we'll find out,
I'm dead serious. They found a good pass rusher. They found a starting corner. They, just as long as they bring Chris Jones back, they can prioritize whatever the hell they want.
And remember what happened, though, guys, 2 years ago. Remember what happened 2 years ago. Going into the playoffs, we were not saying the year they lost to the Buccaneers, we were not going into the playoffs saying the Chiefs have to go and get offensive line help this offseason. We did not think they were going to completely retool it the way that they did. It was 5 new starters on that offensive line, all based off what happened in the Super Bowl. So whatever the Chiefs' priorities are going to be, we can talk about it now. We all know that their priorities are going to be dictated in what happens over the next 4 weeks.
That's absolutely right. I think also they spent this offseason trying to clear up some cap, though, so that they're better positioned. And I just think, to me, eventually they're going to get back to a spot where they can go and be that team that makes that trade for a DeAndre Hopkins, that gives the big deal again out to a guy that's not homegrown or already in-house, that's going to be over 30. I don't think they just might have fixed it. They just might have actually set themselves up really, really good financially. I'm not so sure that the very next offseason at wide receiver, they kind of want to screw that up.
Sure makes it when you have the league's best tight end by a mile.
Yeah. I think still
half the cost of a
But the
normal
Chiefs
wide
have shown him. Veach has shown he is always forward thinking. So you're right, Cody. It's really easy to say Travis Kelce's never going to age, but at some point, this front office is going to start planning for the future. That doesn't mean they're going to give up on Travis Kelce, but they're going to give themselves maybe some security blankets in place in case Kelce does start to drop off a little bit.
Coming up next, we'll get to what's trending, a stat that normally I would feel really good about for the postseason, and CDOT's not happy with me. Next.
You're listening to Cody and Gold, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Don't miss Alex's That Betting Show every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Right here on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
Make some midweek magic with Light the Lamp Wednesdays at BetMGM, an official sportsbook partner of the NHL. Place a $25 wager on any NHL player to score a goal on Wednesday, and you'll automatically receive $200 in free bets for every goal scored in the game. That's up to $1,600 in free bets. Just log into your account or download the app and sign up with BetMGM to get started. Then opt into the Light the Lamp Wednesdays promotion to receive a $200 free bet for every goal scored in the game, regardless of your prop bet's outcome. Every Wednesday at BetMGM. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Physically printing cases to bet. Known existing customers offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Old Shawnee Pizza has a Smokin' Wednesday BOGO special. Buy any medium one-topping pizza and get the second medium one-topping pizza free. Call or go online today to ShawneePizza.com to order for pickup, delivery, or eat in. Old Shawnee Pizza, 2 locations, Shawnee and Lenexa.
I had a nighttime routine for my frequent heartburn. I would drink milk, I would sleep upright with more pillows, but that painful burning stayed. So I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just 1 pill in the morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping.
1 pill, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. With Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Josh Klingler. You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today, based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's value without having to move. That's TrueHold.com.
With inflation on the rise, you may be charging more to your credit card. But be careful. That increased debt can cause your credit score to suffer.
Don't get stuck with a low credit score and a mountain of high-interest credit card debt. Call Golden Oak Lending now.
Refinance with our low rates to wipe out your high-interest credit card debt and put extra cash in your pocket. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
And NMLS 114937.
Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Started in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today they're a leading distributor of superior all-American steaks delivered right to your door, ready for the grill and your taste buds. When it came to their website, an average site wouldn't do. They chose AmericanEagle.com to take their website to the next level. With a dramatic increase in competition and a softening market demand, they had two challenges: improve their brand presence and message, and produce a positive return. AmericanEagle.com got to work and executed usability studies and detailed audits of site experience, digital assets, and marketing. The result? An integrated digital marketing and customer experience plan, organic traffic increase of 20%, and a long-term roadmap for success. If you love great steaks, go to kansascitysteaks.com for website design, development, and online solutions that bring efficiency and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. If you need a results-driven website, call the team at AmericanEagle.com at 877-WEBNOW1. That's 877-WEBNOW1.
Meet Joe A, hi, Joe B, hello, and Joe C. What's up? 3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
It looks like your luggage is over 50 pounds. Is there anything you can take out?
Oh, yeah. Let me just toss all these $20 bills.
Great. Let me grab you a trash can.
Stop. Instead of throwing money away, move some clothes into a carry-on. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
NFL playoff coverage on 610 Sports Radio is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views. What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending, the NFLPA. So the players came out with their All-Pro list. First time they've ever done this. Normally it's just the AP, and the AP All-Pro will come out here very soon as well. But Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, and Tommy Townsend named to the first-team All-Pro list for the NFLPA. So there's one list that has Chris Jones finally as a first-team All-Pro. Hopefully the AP one will do the same. Nobody's stunned that Mahomes and Kelce were there. Tommy Townsend, a Pro Bowl punter, and a All-Pro punter.
I'm not going to go as far as Nick.
In fairness, Nick was slandering Dustin Colquitt earlier.
For no reason.
Dustin Colquitt never said Tommy Townsend wasn't a good punter. He just said not a good holder, basically.
No, he's just running his mouth about an all-pro punter when he has no all-pro selections himself.
Well, in fairness, the NFLPA
played 19 years,
All-Pro didn't exist when he played.
Had 19 chances to make an all-pro.
He had 2 Pro Bowls. Also, 2-time SEC All-Team, so, I mean, you know.
Oh, we're doing college stats now?
Look, Tommy Townsend's friend of the show. Tommy Townsend, friend of the show.
Punter.
Tommy Townsend's been on this show, friend of the show.
Dustin Colquitt's never come
not
on the
a
show.
friend of the show.
Was been on the morning show, friend of their show.
Enemy of our show.
Are you adding him to the banned list? Currently,
yes.
well, there's only one person banned from being on this show.
Yep.
There's only one person we've banned from being on this show.
I don't know if we want to ban Dustin Colquitt.
Michael Lombardi.
I'm banning him.
Really?
Yeah, and if you guys
people on the ban list?
And if you guys try to go behind my back and schedule an interview, I will sabotage.
I mean, I
the
have no
interview.
reason to schedule an interview with him, but I don't know if he needs to be on the ban list. He still is a 15-year
Tell
chief.
you what, you know what? You're right. He can come on the show, and if he does, I promise you, I will tell him exactly how I feel about him, which is that he's washed up.
Well,
and he's
how did
a
that
bum.
turn out for you and Vinny yesterday? I mean, he wasn't happy with what you told him. So.
I didn't call him washed up or a bum.
Whatever.
I simply
You asked me if he fit on a roller coaster.
He is 6'4". I asked him if he is too big to ride the rides. He took it as a fat joke, which
Look,
obviously he's
Tommy
an athlete.
Townsend in the offseason, Tommy Townsend in studio, you're welcome to come in studio, man.
And he's been getting buff all offseason, too, and you're just ignoring that.
And if Tommy Townsend ends up hearing all this, he's going to be running to the studio.
Nick's a big Tommy Townsend fan.
Absolutely.
Lot in common.
Lot in common.
Next up on What's Trending, KU and K-State, both winners last night in their Big 12 matchups. Missouri taking on Texas A&M tonight at 7:30. Obviously a big win for Kansas as they were down pretty much that entire game and then trailed by 10 there late in the second half with about 5 minutes to go. You did not place your bet for Carrington.
Yeah,
but
if you were in
a lot
Kansas,
of other people won money betting Kansas.
If you were in Kansas, it was plus 700. You probably texted a buddy in Kansas, made the bet for you.
Betting can't. By the way, this is we've had 2 betting advice, similar things on this show that really follow the same line. If Kansas City, the Chiefs are ever a dog in a game trailing, just bet them. You're going to win. If you ever get plus money on Kansas City Chiefs in a game, bet them. If you ever get Kansas
At home.
At plus money.
At home.
At home at Allen Fieldhouse at any point, you should probably bet that. You'd have made a lot of money over the last decade
I had
betting
a couple
it that
people
way.
send me screenshots. Someone won $750 last night.
50 to win on the.
There's you can got better. Yeah, it was like I think they got it at plus 800 or plus 820, something like that. But yeah, there's no question there was an opportunity.
You'd have won a lot of money over the years betting Kansas down 10 points at Allen Fieldhouse in the
But
second
as you
half.
said, big win for K-State as well. I mean, Jerome Tang just keeps that thing rolling, man.
Yep. They're the biggest surprise in college basketball. Remember we were talking about this with Kansas football?
Yeah.
Kansas State is the biggest surprise and the story of college basketball to this point in the season. Yeah. They're off to a tremendous start to beating top 10 teams on the road all the time. Right now, they'd be a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. They are the story, and Jerome Tang got them there. I mean, they're the story in college basketball right now.
Said it yesterday. He should, if the season ended today, to me, he's the coach of the year.
Yeah.
He's going to win Big 12 coach of the year. Unless Iowa State goes undefeated with Otzelberger, or whatever his name is, who's having a great year for Iowa State. KU, Iowa State coming up in a few days as well. Big matchup, number 2 versus number 14. Anyway, next up on What's Trending, injuries for the postseason in the NFL. Tua out. That has already been decided. Mike McDaniel saying he's not been cleared, so he's out, probably done for the season, as the Dolphins are going to play the Bills. And then Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are going to take on Cincinnati. Lamar is questionable, still has not practiced. No reason to believe, right? I don't say it's
Jordan Schultz said
Wednesday.
he's still dealing with a lot of swelling and pain in the knee. If you remember, the original timeline for this injury was 3 weeks.
Well,
it's been double that.
Yeah.
He's not going to play.
2 years in a row. 2 years in a row, man.
Which is bad for the Chiefs, by the way, because that means they would get Tyler Huntley and Skylar Thompson, Cincinnati and Buffalo, that is,
Tyler
in order
Huntley's
to get
hurt.
to each
I
other.
think it's Anthony Brown maybe as well. I think there's a chance.
Third-string quarterbacks for
Huntley's
both of those 6'7"?
questionable too.
That's tough. That's tough. Next up on What's Trending, as much as we talked about Carlos Correa signing with, 30 other MLB teams this offseason, it's official. He has officially signed his deal with the Minnesota Twins, 6 years, $200 million. So we'll be seeing a lot of Carlos Correa over the next couple of years. Although a reminder, not as much as you used to. Major League Baseball in this upcoming season, they did finally adopt the rules that you're not going to play your divisional opponents nearly as much as you used to. Remember when you get like 60 games a year between those 4 other teams you'd face? No. Not anymore. They're going to play every single team in baseball every year, so you'll get a chance to see more teams come through town as well. But you'll still see more Correa than other players, but less Correa than you would have in the previous years.
I love that, though. I mean, that change is smart for baseball. I don't need to see the Royals and the Tigers over and over. No, give me some fresh blood, please. Please. Thank you.
Mostly because those teams have been beating up on the Royals for a long time.
Let's be honest. Like overall, like from a rivalry and all that, like the division sucks. It sucks. It'd be way more fun if you had the Cardinals, the Brewers, and the Cubs. It just would. I know they had years ago. They of course had their chance and all that to switch to the NL, but yes, that'd be way more entertaining. Detroit, Kansas City, Detroit rivalry, really?
I still think Chicago's got a little juice, but it's only when both teams are good, and both teams are not good.
And Minnesota.
I mostly just hated Minnesota because they were good. They had like a 10-year run of being really good, and Johan Santana would just show up every 2 weeks and just completely pitch a one-hit shutout against the Royals. Like, I mostly just hated those teams because they were always better than the Royals were at that time.
That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. 913-586-7610 is the text line. Someone says, you guys are saying there's credence to everyone saying the way Lamar Jackson plays is not sustainable. Yeah, I've been saying that for quite some time. My biggest concern with Lamar is not that he can't throw, because he can. It's that his style of play. I do wonder, is his longevity going to be as long as everybody else? And unfortunately, the last 2 years, he's suffered serious injuries that have prevented his team last year from making the playoffs. This year is probably going to send them home early, barring a magic shift in his injury status and availability.
Like, it'll be, and I don't know. I mean, I'm sure somebody will come up with a conspiracy theory in Baltimore that is, he's just claiming his knee's swollen.
Yeah, but but
he's never been that player.
They're going to, like, everybody's thinking, oh, he's not going to be in Baltimore. They'll just tag him. They're going to franchise
not letting him walk.
Yeah, they're going to franchise.
They'll trade him before they let him walk.
Yeah, he's going to be franchise tagged at minimum. We're going to get a story that comes out in February or March, Cody. He's going to be tagged, and then there'll be a story all offseason whether or not they can agree to a long-term deal.
It's going to be tough. By the way, as a reminder, tomorrow at 10:05, we will have a very special announcement, a programming announcement.
Yeah, man.
On this very show. As you had teased earlier, maybe something a little red and blue. We'll see.
Yeah, a little red, a little splash of blue for next week.
It'll be the Red Friday before a Chiefs playoff game in the divisional round. Got big plans.
Excited. Looking forward to it, man.
Back-to-back Fridays, big plans. This Friday, we'll go to the beer release party at Cinder Block, and then next Friday, we'll have a cool programming thing available for all listeners. you want to give any more hints, Nick? Be very careful.
I don't know.
Surprise.
I don't know anything. Nobody has told me anything.
No, you didn't tell him?
I didn't tell him. I can't. Well, because
I can tell you after if you want.
It'll make sense. It'll make sense why we didn't tell him when everybody finds out tomorrow. I can't. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, yeah. You know what? You can find out tomorrow.
Yeah.
With everyone else.
Yeah,
I am.
No, because it's related. You did something. So,
okay, so here's the thing, guys. I am a part of this show.
Yes, that's correct.
I don't know why I am being left in the dark.
Always part of the show.
So we're really excited about the announcement tomorrow.
Very.
But when you are directly involved in what we're announcing tomorrow, we
so
can't
it's like
tell
a surprise. It's a surprise for me.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's how you want to
Part
phrase
of
it.
what we will say tomorrow will probably come as a surprise to you, if that helps.
And then you're going to look back and say, oh, yeah.
That's what I'll say.
Something like that.
Oh.
Okay.
Why don't you make it more sexual?
Mine was not that. That was not that.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Why'd you immediately turn it to that?
Oh, gosh.
Nick's wishing that we're going to do a playoff version of What's Your Fantasy, just for some daily lineups.
Today we actually would have been a normal What's Your Fantasy Day, but Fantasy Football's up. We can do Fantasy Football Playoff Edition.
Oh, we could do.
Well, there is no playoff edition.
For Fantasy Football, there absolutely are people that do like fantasy type contests for the playoffs.
Or daily lineups,
daily
right?
fantasy for the postseason.
We haven't done daily fantasy all year.
We're going to do What's Your Fantasy on Friday.
Cole's just declaring it. We're doing What's Your Fantasy for the matchups this week.
And Nick, we're just going to use the sounds that you made right there. Instead of
That's
instead of
that on a loop.
Do you want a few more?
No. Instead of the normal girl in the background.
That's not any worse than Cody's grunts during the Daddy Day song.
But that was a song. That was a song though. That's a little bit different, you know?
I don't think it's any better.
You think it's worse? I don't think it's worse. I think
because you were doing it when singing about me.
Hey, Daddy, you're a show fatty. Ooh. Happy Daddy. I very specifically remember you saying, "Don't ever call me a baddie again."
Well,
the show baddie. I mean, I'm the baddie of the show for sure.
So now you want to own that title?
Well, I'm just saying I'm badder than you guys.
It's not even necessarily what like a. Okay, all right. Oh, the Daddy Day song. Good times.
Still one of the last two songs you've ever done.
Okay, get off my ass. Okay. How about your
there's a nice
drop.
There's a good
Dr.
There's a good drop.
You know, Dr. Dre took off like 14 years between albums, so I guess you're allowed to as well.
Yeah. All I've taken is a few months.
All I gotta say, in the meantime, the morning show has remastered one of their hits.
Not even coming up with fresh songs.
They remastered Brett Veachtown. You see that news this week?
I didn't, but now
what
you're.
What do you mean by
informing.
remastered?
Somebody else sung it.
They have a professional band that has sung the song. That's what I mean by that.
I'm an original artist. Come up with originals.
You remastered some of yours.
Just the Creed one.
Yeah,
just that one for the video.
That was a quick remaster. That was a 2 week remaster.
Yeah, I was about to say we remastered that in like a hurry, and it was still me having to sing it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just me singing it in a more professional studio setting. Maybe that's what I'm waiting for. You know, the guy who was able to help us remaster that, I'd reached out to him a couple more times on a few other songs, and unfortunately he was unavailable to do it. Maybe the next song I want to do, I want to be able to do it in a studio again.
Oh, now you're too good.
Makes it in its maximum quality.
You're too good for your own studio that you have at your own setup at home.
Well, I think everyone would like it to sound its best. That's all.
Someone says instead of remastering it, they should have thrown Veachtown in the trash. Wow, the Daddy song is 1,000 times better.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Ted.
Yeah, I mean, that Veach song is...
Oh, fighting words now. Here
abysmal.
we go.
I mean, it is an affront to God and anybody who's ever made a song.
Wow.
Yeah. Is it better or worse than the Ben Roethlisberger song?
It's worse than every song you've made.
It's worse than the Ben Roethlisberger song?
Do you want me to tell you it's better?
No, I don't.
It's so bad.
I mean, the Roethlisberger song was...
Yeah, but at least there was effort behind that Roethlisberger song.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how much effort Bob did.
Well, we're living here in Brett Veachtown.
Yeah, no, stop. Just stop.
Okay, so do you want to revisit that thought about effort? It sounds like there's a lot of effort put into that.
It sounds like you drank a lot the night before. If I had just been like
And then
massively
also,
hungover for him.
why is he recording that inside a shower?
Well, that's why they remastered it. I think they have a local group or a local band that made it sound professional.
And he's just like talking, like he's not singing. He's not even committing to actually singing. Well, they're living in Brad Beach Town. Somebody says he sounds like Sloth from the Goonies.
Oh, man.
Hey, you guys. It does sound very hollow. How many filters did that get run through on the audio editing?
I don't know. Okay. I won't pressure you into doing another song.
I will.
I'll let you just live. I'll just let you never have a hit song again. Never hit song again.
Maybe just be like 5 years later to be like, you'll just forget that I ever did songs, and then there'll be a song again. Yeah. I almost did one for Carloftis.
You stopped singing. You stopped doing jingles.
Yeah. Gave up my music career. I had to take a break.
Someone said
break from my family.
Fesco called Nick creepy this morning on air, so they said they deserve the slander towards
Which
this.
is funny because at one point B-Dub came out into the bullpen and came up to me specifically and said, how old do you have to be the creepy guy at a college bar? To which I responded 25.
Yeah, I think that 25, 26. Even if you're in grad school there, you cannot go to the bar that the 20 and 21-year-olds go to.
What if you're with a group of people?
That's fine.
What if it's like 5 or 6 25 or 6-year-olds
If you're
together?
just a single guy there hitting on chicks, that's creepy.
Yeah.
When you're older than everyone.
The one caveat to all of this:
are you
if
hot?
you're still an athlete and you're like you're Stetson Bennett, you can do it. Nobody's gonna.
I think his conversation was coming up because like some local team's got like a 30-year-old punter.
Also, if you're TCU has a 30-year-old punter. Also, if you're hot and cool, then you're not creepy.
If
by
you're
default.
a 30-year-old punter on a team that plays in was about to play in the national championship game and then still didn't show up to the game, but still played, and like you can do that.
But you have to be with the other teammates.
Yeah, which he's probably not going by himself.
Exactly.
If he's on a football team.
Exactly.
Okay, we're on the same page here.
Yeah, I think so. I think we agree to this.
Little did I know when B-Dub asked me that question that he was using it
as ammunition against you.
Yeah, so that was a low blow.
Oh,
and kind of a
here's
scummy
the
move.
exact quote from the morning show today. Fesco called Nick most likely to be an old college scumbag.
I don't even know what that means, but here's the thing.
Damn.
You know what's funny?
I thought you guys settled your beef. Now it's back.
Well, anytime they do a most likely thing, I don't know if this is a recurring bit on their show, but it seems like they do a lot of most likely to ... And every time this scenario pops up, it's always me. Whatever they're talking about, most likely to, it's always me.
Doesn't matter. Well, mostly because they're talking about bad things.
Yeah,
most
they're never
likely
talking about
to do something awful.
They're never talking about like most likely to help an old lady cross the street.
Well, I think if they did do that topic, it wouldn't be you.
Yeah.
Really? Because I was at Hy-Vee 2 weeks ago, and I helped an old lady just walk to her car. She had a bag. I carried the bag, and she's like, will you help me walk to my car? And she grabbed onto my arm, and I walked her out to her car.
It was roughly
took about 45 minutes because she wasn't. She didn't walk with the
I think the
longest
last
strides.
The last time Cody interacted with an old lady was when the one that stole his cat. Remember?
Yeah, that's probably it. But also,
and then it turns out he used to sleep with her daughter.
That's correct. That happened as well. A couple training camps ago.
It's weird, Nick, that you would laud this act of righteousness as being okay, even though you just admitted on the air, having yesterday told me that all acts of righteousness don't count if you admit them on the air. Because I had said I was doing a nice thing by helping, and you said it doesn't count now because you mentioned it.
No, Cody, you brought it up solely to let everyone know how nice it was.
That's what you just did.
No, I was
to bring up how nice you are.
No, I was responding to an accusation to which you had just said you're the least likely person to do it. To which I said, actually, I just did it 2 weeks ago. I didn't bring it up out of thin air.
The question everybody has. So, Nick, what did you take out of her grocery bags? What did you steal?
You know, the prices of eggs have went up a lot lately.
They are. Egg prices are crazy
so
right now.
So I snatched that real quick and then let her go.
When was the last time you had eggs in your fridge? Feels like something you never purchase for your fridge under any circumstance.
You know what, Cody?
I'm dead serious, never.
I don't know. So I've lived in my same apartment. This is my third lease I've signed. So 2.5, 3 years. I don't think I've ever had a carton of eggs in my fridge.
I don't have eggs. There's never a time in which eggs are not in my fridge.
I wouldn't say always, but eggs is one of the things that you almost always pick up from the grocery store.
Not, and by the way, I like hard-boiled eggs, scrambled eggs. It's not like I don't like eggs. I just don't cook.
But they're the easiest food on the face of the planet to cook.
I can make
Pack of bacon and some eggs, some toast. You're good.
Yeah, I can make scrambled eggs in 2 seconds. I understand. But I don't. I don't do that.
I'm not sure you could make the scrambled eggs or good ones.
Have you ever made them?
Yeah, come on. Yes. In college, I actually did cook. I'm not talking you through my
No, do it. Do it, coward. People think you won't.
I want to know seasoning. I want to know if you had cheese or milk. I want the process.
I'll answer this. So no cheese. I definitely don't use cheese on my eggs. Pepper's the main seasoning on top of the eggs. You don't like pepper on your eggs?
No.
Any sauce, any hot sauce,
Nope.
What about like bell peppers? You chop up some peppers, make a little omelet.
I'm not making an omelet. I'm just talking about scrambled eggs.
And so it's just pepper, eggs. That's it.
Yeah.
Little salt?
How fluffy? How fluffy do you usually get them?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't burn the egg if that's what you're asking.
Well, do you know the key to getting them nice and fluffy?
I don't know. You tell me, chef.
Well, sometimes you usually add like a liquid in there. Like if you add milk that's usually pretty helpful. But also, just I use a fork in the pan. I don't use a spatula. I use a fork, and then I'm just constantly spinning, kind of trying to get that whipped phenomenon. Cody?
Yeah, very similar.
Okay.
I also like to. You have to move your eggs. You can't just like sit there and walk away.
You gotta move them, Gold.
If you're making scrambled eggs,
obviously it burns otherwise.
But I also think that it doesn't have to be a lot of cheese, like where you're making cheesy eggs. Just a little bit of cheese that has that texture to it.
Lactose intolerant, so I can't do it.
To it. A little bit of milk, a little bit of cheese. What liquid do you add if you can't add milk? Almond milk?
Yeah, but unsweetened, so it's not like flavored. It's not like vanilla almond milk or anything.
Just to get that texture.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Whatever happened that day we brought in the milk and we brought in that other brand of milk? Whatever happened to that gallon of milk?
The final word.
Oh my God, I don't know.
Where'd you put it?
Yeah, seriously, did you put it back in the work fridge?
No, it's not in there. I was in the work fridge.
Did you take it home? And you just
I didn't take it home. I just don't know what happened to it.
Is in your backseat of your car? Your trunk?
Did we stick it in like that mini fridge or something?
No, we didn't. I'm hoping we threw it out. Otherwise, that fridge is a disaster.
Well, it's
afraid to check.
Well,
I honestly don't know.
It's
I don't remember.
closed, so I'm sure it's
says,
fine.
Does Gold use ketchup on eggs? Hell no.
Oh,
No.
ketchup on eggs is a good move.
No, I don't like that. No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Like hot sauce.
Tomorrow, 10:05. Really fun programming announcement we're excited about. Nick doesn't even know about it, but we'll tell you what it is tomorrow at 10:05. The Drive with Carrington Harrison, who missed out on hundreds of dollars yesterday because he lives in Missouri. Next.